Life in a wealthy family after swapping with indifferent husband. Author, Zhao Shizhu. Introduction. In the rich novel, the vicious and powerful business emperor accidentally became a vegetable, and no one knew that his consciousness was soberly trapped in his body. Ning Yi transmigrated from the bitter end of the world to become his cannon fodder wife. Because she married her sister, her mentality was distorted, and she was about to abuse her disabled husband. Then, the two of them switched bodies. Seeing Ning Yi lying dead instead of him, the man was full of malice. How does it feel? Can't hear, can't move, let others slaughter. Ning Yi, it's so quiet, the bed is so soft, sleep for a while. Zzz Gu Cheng. Ning Yi has lived in the last days for 3 years, and her greatest wish is to lie down peacefully. When she learned that she can freely control the interpenetration with the boss, Ning Yi said affectionately, I am willing to lie down for you, in exchange for your freedom. 3 So when the rich mother-in-law tested whether she would be impatient to scrub her husband, Ning Yi cut the number. Husband, come here, take care of yourself. When the elders of the Gu family forced her to clean up 80 properties, she could write her name. Ning Yi cut the number. Husband, come and exercise. Gu Cheng. Very good. Originally, everyone was waiting, but Gu Cheng couldn't wake up, and Ning Yi would be kicked out by the Gu family sooner or later. In the end, she saw that her life was going smoothly, her mother-in-law and her sisters were like sisters, and she became a wealthy upstart. At the high-class dinner, Ning Yi was stopped by a young talent to strike up a conversation. As soon as she took out her mobile phone, the audience suddenly fell silent. The man who has fallen in the legend is as handsome as before, calmly appearing on the stage. He passed the shocked crowd, and stopped behind Ning Yi with his tall body, his eyes filled with cold possessiveness. Why didn't you call your husband? Lack of morality, beautiful and lying heroine x ruthless, calculating, cold and jealous boss. The plot and protagonist of the original book are really smart. The kind that the author will smile evilly when he writes. Content tags, sweet text. Where's books? Cool text. Search keywords, protagonist, Ning Yi supporting role, Gu Cheng. Others, A1 sentence. Introduction. The text is over sand sculpture. Sweet text. Conception, enjoy life in any environment. Brief comment on the work. Gu Cheng is a dark and powerful business emperor in the rich and powerful novels. Because of an accident, he became a vegetable. Ning Yi struggled for 3 years in this world, and accidentally transmigrated into this book, and became the cannon fodder wife who married Gu Cheng instead of her sister. Because of her distorted mentality, she was about to abuse her disabled husband, but unexpectedly, the two of them people swap bodies. This world has food and drink, and can control the body exchange with the boss, so Ning Yi directly chooses to lie flat, and cheat the boss by the way. There were hilarious and sweet interpenetration experiences between the two, and their relationship gradually warmed up. The writing style of this article is relaxed and witty, unique and innovative. The classic stock of male and female protagonists swapping bodies is written in a different and new way, bringing readers a hilarious reading experience, and the comment area is full of ha 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 ha. At the same time, be positive. No matter in any environment, you must be strong and optimistic, and enjoy life. The female protagonist has a strong mentality after experiencing different worlds, and the male protagonist has gained light after 3 years of hard work. Two strong people meet each other, understand each other in the exchange of bodies, and finally fall in love with each other. This is a story that will bring a warm smile after reading. When Ning Yi opened her eyes, she was sitting in a luxurious ward. She was holding a needle in her hand with blood on the tip. Apparently, just finished pricking someone. Ning Yi has never used such a humorous cold weapon since the end of the world, thinking, good guy? I am wrong. Nai who wears books? Then she was input a plot of a rich and brainless pet article, and soon learned, the very handsome man on the hospital bed who had just been impaled by her was Gu Cheng, the strongest business emperor in the book, who had already died after accidentally becoming a vegetable. Lie down for 3 years. In the original book, the heroine Ding Ziyu and Gu Cheng had a baby relationship, and because of this she has always been envied by the famous ladies and daughters. Fortunately, she found out that she was the fake daughter who had been wronged. When the real daughter Ning Yi was found from the countryside, the task of marrying a vegetable was naturally pushed to her. Not only that, but Ding Ziyou was also found by her real family members and even more powerful wealthy families, and she was spoiled as the apple of her eye. But Ning Yi didn't have a good day, and she was going to be a widow for her just after returning to the wealthy family. Compared with Ding Ziyou's pampered life, it was hard for her mentality not to be distorted, so she abused her disabled husband to vent her anger. Little did he know that the boss's consciousness had been trapped in his body passively and awake all the time, losing all 5 senses but retaining the sense of tactile pain. Being abused made him even darker, and when he rose up, he once again swept the entire business world. Ning Yi, a vicious pervert, was naturally the first to be tortured by blood. After watching the garbage plot, Ning Yi didn't know which one was more unlucky, the boss or her. I feel that if the two of them can change places, they should resonate quite well. They are all kind of wronged. However, injustice turns out to be wrong. Ning Yi spent 3 years in the apocalypse, and basically lost his sense of morality and sympathy along with the quality of life, and only thought about countermeasures that were beneficial to him. Today was the first day that the original owner was allowed to visit when he married into the Gu family. Outside the ward, almost the entire wealthy and famous people of City A gathered. Most of these people look down on the original owner. If Gu Cheng is not awake, they will ridicule her for being a widow. If Gu Cheng is awake, they will ridicule her for being unworthy. Ning Yi held the needle, pointed it at the boss, and thought seriously, now that he has already been stabbed, why not just stab him to death? To avoid being rebellious later. But she changed her mind. Now it's a society ruled by law, and it's not good to fight casually. Ning Yi yawned in distress. After finally leaving the end of the world, but wearing such a B character, when will the simple dream of eating, drinking, lying down and sleeping soundly come true? She simply buckled the needle and closed her eyes. Why don't I lie down for you for a while, husband? Of course, this is just a random thought in my heart. However, there was a slight fluctuation in the air suddenly, like a gust of wind brushing the hospital bed by her ears, as if something had changed. Ning Yi's senses were sharp, and she opened her eyes immediately. But I found out. Why is it still black in front of my eyes? Not only that, but the noise that was always noisy because of the good hearing has also disappeared. The whole world is only left with soft and fluffy touch under the body. How is this a bit like? And as if to confirm Ning Yi's guess, Ning Yi, who was sitting by the bed, stood up slowly. When she opened her eyes, there was a dark light in her eyes, like a beast that had been locked in a cage for too long, peeping cautiously and gloomily at this long-lost light. After getting used to standing and seeing things normally, Gu Cheng saw himself lying on the bed for the first time. He fell silent. Out of body? But when he raised his hand slowly, what he saw was a white wrist belonging to a woman, with 5 very slender fingers, and a needle. Gu Cheng narrowed his eyes. It turned out that he was actually transferred into this person's body. Ning Yi felt a pain in her heart. An inexplicable sense of connection made her know clearly that she actually switched bodies with the boss. If I had known earlier, I would have thrown away the needle first. Oh no, I would have stabbed him dead if I had known. Gu Cheng has already picked up the needle and looked at it. The sharp pain in his arm just now, is that it? Ning Yi heard this cold and magnetic voice, and realized that the two of them could still talk directly in their hearts after the exchange, so she picked up what little politeness she had left, and explained, I didn't stab you, it was all a misunderstanding. However, before she could finish speaking, she felt the cold needle tip land on her arm, slowly moving away, causing goosebumps. Scared? Gu Cheng lowered his eyes, looked at his body without any emotion, and felt malicious in his heart. How does it taste? You can't see, you can't move, you can't see the sun, you can be slaughtered. Fate treats him harshly, even such a villain dares to step on his head. Now that he's awake, don't blame. Before the black air in Gu Cheng's eyes permeated, he suddenly lay back in his body. And Ning Yi stood at the head of the bed, blinking her eyes. Sorry, she just thought about it casually just now, but it turned out to be back again. So the swap turned out to be so random. As long as she thinks about it. Gu Cheng on the other end obviously also realized that the body swap was controlled by the other party, and his heart sank suddenly in this case. He was completely passive and controlled. What would this vicious woman do? Ning Yi looked at the big guy on the bed, his eyes gradually moved. Unexpectedly, this trash can also have a magical effect. She was surrounded by all kinds of mutant noises in the last days, always in danger and tense, and hadn't slept a full night in 3 years, but now there is a soft and clean place where she can sleep. Isn't the boss's body just like a double bedroom in a silent zero-pressure 5-star hotel? You can check in anytime for free. Ning Yi, fortunately, he was not stabbed to death. TVT. So Ning Yi methodically sold the stolen cold weapons, stuffed a juicy and sweet orange into his mouth, then patted the boss on the shoulder, and proactively exchanged bodies with him again smoothly. After doing all this, Ning Yi got her wish and lay down peacefully on the bed. When Gu Cheng opened his eyes again, he stood by the bed again. Looking down, the needle in his hand has been wiped clean. It also made a heart shape. Ning Yi slowly closed her eyes. My husband, compare your heart. Gu Cheng. He clenched his palms tightly, his eyes filled with gloom. This woman should be the wife arranged for him by the family, a person who is vicious enough to abuse her husband, and suddenly pretends to be affectionate. The purpose is nothing more than to seek more benefits. Gu Cheng lowered his eyes, and turned the hospital bed into a negotiating table calmly. I think you know my identity. If we cooperate, I can bring you everything you want. There was silence on the other side, and there was no sound. Gu Cheng's heart sank even more, his eyes changed a few times. It seems that this woman is not an idiot who can only people with needles, on the contrary she is quite scheming and calm. Gu Cheng controlled his tone, taking retreat as an advance. Of course, the initiative is yours, if you... His tone was low and his mouth was almost parched, but the other party remained silent, like a master who is well versed in the game. A bit of fear finally appeared on Gu Cheng's gloomy and indifferent face. What exactly do you want? After a while, the other party finally responded. Ning Yi, zzzzz Gu Cheng. Gu Cheng. Gu Cheng endured for 3 years and almost broke his merits. She's snoring. At this time, outside the ward. Because the door hadn't opened for a long time, the famous ladies and daughters gradually couldn't sit still. Ning Yi hasn't come out for so long, so young Master Gu really woke up, right? After all, the business empire that Gu Cheng single-handedly created is still operating according to his rules, and the market value of the Gu Group is still unmatched in City A. Thinking of Gu Cheng's handsome and flawless face. In fact, everyone who can open their eyes, there are still countless people who want to marry him. Everyone is a little bit unwilling, but no one dares to bet on that eventuality. Among the crowd, only Ding Zihu smiled calmly. It was the gesture of a much-loved winner in life. Others don't know why Ning Yi stayed in the Guqin ward for a long time, but Ding Zihu knew it because she knew what would happen in the future through a dream. Now her dark sister must have started to abuse Gu Cheng. Ding Zihu smiled lightly. It's a pity that Ning Yi wouldn't know even if she was killed, but Gu Cheng could perceive all this and would wake up soon. So she only needs to find an opportunity to heal Gu Cheng and heal him after Ning Yi abused him. Then after Gu Cheng rises strongly, she will be the light that helps Gu Cheng overcome the darkness. Just as he was thinking, the door of the ward suddenly opened. Gu Cheng walked out from inside with a blank expression, his face full of gloomy frost. He was in Ning Yi's body at this time, but he silenced everyone waiting outside. Such a cold beauty. Although Ning Yi's daughter-in-law can't be on the stage, she is really beautiful. Her facial features are exquisite, her eyes are half closed, the tails of her eyes are deep and deep, her upper lip is thin, and her lower lip is just the right thickness. She was thin but very temperamental, and the cold aura lingering at this time added a bit of mystery to her. "Damn, is she so beautiful?" someone whispered. A celebrity next to her curled her lips in disdain. "What's the use of being beautiful?" Looking at this expression, one can tell that Gu Cheng must not be awake, otherwise why would Ning Yi look so mournful? For a moment, the ladies and daughters all felt disappointed and relieved, and gathered around to look up and down at Ning Yi. Gu Cheng hadn't been in contact with anyone for a long time, felt very uncomfortable, and said coldly, "Get out of the way." The cold and oppressive aura from the superior made the few people who moved closer to the front stagnate. But then they laughed angrily. "Ning Yi is pretty good at acting, isn't she? Gu Cheng hasn't woken up yet, how dare she show off as an outcast from a wealthy family?" Someone sneered. "Oh, with this posture, those who don't know think that young Master Gu himself is here." The neighbors echoed, "If someone from the village is able to marry into the Gu family, he has already achieved a class leap, can't you hold on to it?" Gu Cheng looked at these faces indifferently. In the past, he always smiled in front of him. "I have never seen their faces." Ding Ziho came out at the right time, and with sympathy and understanding for Ning Yi, she said softly, "Don't say that, Xiao Yi must feel very sad. Otherwise, how could he abuse Gu Cheng?" Everyone knew that Ding Zihu had just been recognized by the Ding family, that she was in the limelight as a woman of beauty and pets, and that the eldest son of the Gu family was the flower protector, so they all sold her face. Yu is really beautiful and kind as expected of a real daughter of a famous family. Ding Zihu smiled modestly, but her eyes couldn't hide her pride and self-satisfaction. She glanced at the door of the ward, although she really wanted to heal Gu Dashao who was in suffering immediately, but now there are too many people, so she is not in a hurry. So she grabbed Ning Yi and said kindly, "Come on, let me show you around Gu's house." Gu Cheng. Gu Zihu came over tall and proud. "Yu, I will accompany you." Ding Zihu naturally did not refuse, and Gu Zihu's protective gesture must have stimulated Ning Yi as well. The more twisted her psychology is, the more her kindness will be highlighted. "Let's go," she said with a smile. Gu Cheng did not refuse. He just took this opportunity to observe the current situation of the Gu family, and make up for the missing 3 years as soon as possible. Calculating the time, the project he promoted before the accident should be returning funds now. Walking in the magnificent manner of the Gu family, Ding Zihu smiled brightly and missed, "Ah, here I often came here to play when I was young. Aunt Song Lan liked me very much back then, but unfortunately I am not a daughter-in-law now." After finishing speaking, Ding Zihu seemed to have just remembered that these words would hurt Ning Yi, and said quickly, "Ah, I'm sorry sister, I didn't mean that." Gu Cheng took a look at her instead. "Good low-grade green tea." Gu Zihu said impatiently from the side, "Yu, why are you always apologizing to her? Haven't you already given up your position to her? What else is she dissatisfied with? That kind of domineering maintenance is simply irresistible for little girls." Ding Zihu blushed, secretly observed Ning Yi, and was satisfied to see the thoughtful expression on his face. Gu Cheng really remembered Gu Zihu. He turned his head to look at him, and said calmly, "You lost your script and forgot your words at the Gu family's shareholder meeting the year before last and cried. Did you become an executive director later?" Gu Zihu's face suddenly changed. No one knew about this except the elders who were present at the time. How could Ning Yi, who had just entered a rich family, know? He subconsciously turned to Ding Zihu, "You told her." Ding Zihu opened her eyes wide and quickly denied, "How could that be?" She really didn't expect that she underestimated Ning Yi. Did this start to provoke her relationship with Gu Zihu? Sure enough, people with dark psychology are like this. If they are not happy, they can't see other people's happiness. Ding Zihu couldn't care about him, so she was busy proving her innocence with Gu Zihu first. And Gu Cheng didn't care about them at all. He didn't even care if doing so would make enemies for Ning Yi. What does the woman's situation have to do with him? He was about to go to the main house to take a look, but a long yawn came from his ear. Ning Yi woke up. This sleep wasn't long, but it was already a deep sleep she hadn't seen for a long time. Ning Yi lay on the bed, feeling limp and exhausted, so happy that she didn't even want to get up. At this time, it seemed very convenient to talk directly in her head. She asked Gu Cheng, "Where are you?" Gu Cheng glanced around, and replied coldly, "The back kitchen." Ning Yi said pleasantly, "How do you know I'm hungry, so let's change it back." Gu Cheng sneered, "This woman only sleeps and eats. First, he just happened to be here. Secondly, if Ning Yi wants to change, he has no control over it." However, after several seconds, the two still did not switch back. Ning Yi's doubtful voice came over, "Eh? Why can't I change it? Out of order?" Gu Cheng paused. It seems that although the initiative is on her side, the time or the number of exchanges is also limited to her. So he wasn't completely passive in front of her. The corners of Gu Cheng's lips slowly curled into a smile, and the dark malice in his eyes flooded like a tide. Ding Xiao managed to comfort Gu Xiao with great difficulty. She was originally upset, but when she turned her head and saw the wicked coldness on Ning Yi's face, she immediately felt better. That's right, with this kind of look, Ning Yi must be mentally distorted to the point of insanity. Gu Cheng curled his lips and left the back kitchen. Ning Yi on the opposite side tried a few times but couldn't change for the time being, and was no longer persistent. "Husband, then can you bring me some cakes?" "Husband," Ning Yi called out without any sense of shame, "I haven't eaten it for several years, I want chocolate flavor." "Oh!" Gu Cheng almost sneered. "Ning Yi," he said coldly, "I advise you to respect yourself." Ning Yi lay on the bed, sighing inwardly. I knew that he would turn his face in a second. Fortunately, she was already prepared. Her tone was concerned, "If you don't bring it to me, I'll drool on your face." Gu Cheng. Ning Yi lay on the bed, babbling leisurely, "I tried it, the corner of your mouth can move about 1 millimeter. Besides, someone is holding your hand now, it should be your mother." Gu Cheng. Ning Yi, how is it? Paused for a moment, and began to be demented, "Baa. Gu Cheng, enough." The veins on his forehead popped out, and his black aura seemed to have substance. After half a day. "Chocolate, right." Gu Cheng left the back kitchen expressionlessly carrying the cake box. Ding Xiao also followed, and specially prepared an extra set of silver knives and forks for him, with inexplicable encouragement in her eyes, "Xiao, go and stay with young Master Gu. The harder you abuse, the more I can heal him." Gu Cheng. When they returned to the other building, the group of onlookers outside the ward were not eligible to visit, and had already been invited by the Gu family's servants to the banquet hall to wait for dinner. Gu Cheng walked outside the ward and saw his mother Song Lan walking out of the ward. Song Lan is a strong woman, and the jewelry brand she founded is a time-honored gold brand in China. After the accident in Gukan, she and Mr. Gu supported the group together and balanced the internal relationship of the Gu family. However, no matter how much financial and material resources are poured in, Gu Cheng can't wake up, and Gu's people's hearts are already floating. Song Lan closed the door, lowered her head and wiped the corners of her eyes, and when she looked up again, she saw Ning Yi walking over. She covered her expression and nodded slightly, "Come." Gu Cheng stopped in his tracks, and the icy depression from the exchange of bodies dissipated slightly, "Mom." Song Lan was slightly taken aback. The phrase "mom" did not expect her daughter-in-law to call her so affectionately. Gu Cheng could tell that although Song Lan was still exquisite and decent, her haggard eyes could not be concealed. Song Lan recovered and saw the cake in his hand. "This is." The servants and nurses would put some food in Gukan's ward on a regular basis, so as to make it more popular. Could it be that the daughter-in-law is so attentive? I was worried that she would have resentment. Gu Cheng also looked down, thinking why he brought the cake. His face turned dark. Although he can't tell Song Lan about such a bizarre body swap now, he can pave the way and infiltrate Ning Yi's personality in advance so that he can get a smooth divorce when he returns. So Gu Cheng said lightly, "Oh, I brought these to eat myself." I almost wrote the words delicious and lazy written on my face. Song Lan was taken aback. Is this kid honest? She has been in a wealthy family for too long, and she is used to seeing all kinds of ladies and daughters, but she admires some girls who return to the basics, do not pretend, and are more real. This child Ning Yi looks good. If he can withstand some small tests, the Gu family will definitely not treat their daughter-in-law badly. Go and eat, Song Lan smiled kindly, remember to save some stomach for the dinner. Gu Cheng. How come you look quite satisfied? Ning Yi lay on the bed and squinted happily for a while, then woke up precisely. Here comes the takeaway. Old Gong, she called out in her head. At this time, Gu Cheng had just walked to the bed and stopped to make sure that she was not drooling with her face. Hearing this, he paused. Her perception is so sharp? Obviously, his body can only feel the slightest fluctuation of the airflow. Gu Cheng asked calmly, can you change it back now? Ning Yi has a very good attitude, not yet. However, he is trying hard to fit the cake. Gu Cheng looked at the clock on the wall, squinting to count the time. They changed a total of 3 times today. The first time and the second time were a complete exchange back and forth. After the third time, there was a cool-down period, which is about 2 hours now. He needs to find out the various laws and restrictions of body swapping as soon as possible to gain more initiative. Perhaps, this is also an important turning point for him to break through the vegetative state. It's okay, husband. Ning Yi lay on his back with a very affectionate tone. Now that the exchange has happened, for you, I am willing to endure more pain while lying down, in exchange for your freedom. After all, her biggest goal in life now is to eat well and sleep well. Then take the time to use her doomsday almighty technology to make some money, so that when the boss wakes up, he won't be killed quickly. Gu Cheng heard the hooked lips, but there was no smile in his eyes, hypocrisy. After a while, Ning Yi's swappability returned to normal. Gu Cheng secretly remembered that the cooling time this time was about 2 hours and 15 minutes. It's just that he thought that he would be used to changing his body again, but when he returned to the closed dead silence again, he felt a burst of uncontrollable depression. After a brief taste of freedom, the darkness became even more unbearable. And Ning Yi didn't speak again after returning to her body. Sure enough, human nature is selfish. So did he. Gu Cheng remained silent for a moment in the dark, and became even colder. Hello. There was no response from the other side. The silent darkness was like a boundless tide, and Gu Cheng suddenly had a trace of doubt. Is it just an illusion after he was trapped insane that he regained his freedom by exchanging his body? Hey, Gu Cheng's voice was cold. You first, I don't call you hello. Her voice finally came through. Secondly, I'm eating cake. Ning Yi's voice was a bit vague. Husband, are you lonely? Want to listen to food broadcasts? Ning Yi is very religious about food. The Gu family deserves to be a top rich family. The chef in the back kitchen is quite skilled in making desserts. The mellow and sweet taste permeates from the tip of the tongue, and then the soft and dense touch of the cake body. Her dopamine immediately began to be crazily secreted. Ning Yi generously shared happiness with her husband in a vegetable state. Yummy yummy yummy. This time, Gukin was quiet. Ning Yi continued, Ba, blah, blah. Gu Cheng. Ning Yi, I will continue to eat and broadcast for you at the dinner party later. Don't worry my husband, I won't make you lonely. Okay, Gu Cheng said blankly, shut up. Today, the Gu family will hold a small family dinner in the banquet hall in order to entertain the rich and famous people who came here. After eating that piece of cake, Ning Yi became very interested in the Gu family's dinner. This is also a plot point in the original plot. Because the original owner participated in this kind of high society dinner for the first time, he felt inferior and cowardly and dared not speak, so he was severely pulled into the control group by the confident and generous heroine. After going back, her mentality was even more distorted, and the abuse was doubled, which was also the beginning of her death. Ning Yi looked in the mirror before leaving the ward. Sure enough, if you sleep well, you will feel refreshed. In the last days, she couldn't sleep deeply, and she couldn't eat well. Although her facial features were still the same, her beauty was greatly reduced. At this moment, Ning Yi's whole body is stretched, and there is a kind of lazy beauty between the exquisite eyebrows and eyes. What is there to be ashamed of growing up like this? Besides, this is a brainless novel, can it be difficult to get mixed up in a pile of zombies? When Ning Yi opened the door and walked into the banquet hall, she held her head high. Everyone's eyes unconsciously focused on at this moment, Ning Yi doesn't have that cold aura on her body. Her delicate and beautiful features have a loose and natural attraction. When she walks, she has a very upright posture, which makes people unconsciously notice that she used to be slender and tall. The waist is so thin, the legs are so long. However, in a wealthy family, appearance alone is useless. The long tables in the banquet hall are already full, and the hierarchy in the wealthy circle is very clear. Everyone's family background and coffee position have a ranking in their hearts. Ning Yi's ranking order is undoubtedly the bottom of the bottom. She asked Gu Cheng in her mind, "My husband, where do you think I should sit?" Gu Cheng was very familiar with this kind of occasion, and with malice in his heart, he suggested coolly, "You should sit at the nearest seat under the chief seat." Ning Yi applauded in satisfaction, "It's the same as I thought. That's the closest to the main course." Gu Cheng sneered coldly. As soon as Ning Yi sat down, the eyes on the scene were more focused on her. The man opposite looked at Ning Yi up and down, "Go to the back, do you have the nerve to sit here?" When Ding Ziyu heard this sentence, she quickly and gently came out to make a rescue. "I'm sorry Mr. Gu, my sister has never participated in this kind of banquet and doesn't understand the rules, so I'll take her to sit in another seat." Her behavior aroused good looks from those around her. If it was the original owner, he must have stood up disheveledly by this time, but Ning Yi did not rush, raising his eyes with a beautiful arc. "What?" she said with peace of mind, "Gu Cheng's wife, can't sit down." The banquet hall was silent. Ding Ziyu's face froze, and Gu Zizong, who had spoken just now, was suddenly at a loss for words. "Ning Yi, a bumpkin from the countryside, they can do whatever they want, but who would dare to name Gu Cheng? This is the Gu family, and no one dares to refute this sentence. Even if that man is still unconscious, his name is the rule." Ning Yi has no shame in taking advantage of the boss's position, nor does she feel any moral guilt. Her happiness is the most important, happy face, but in the distance, Song Lan, who witnessed this scene, showed a bit of admiration in his eyes. Yes, Gu Cheng's wife, the daughter-in-law of the Gu family, should have such confidence in the first place. Song Lan gave a brief speech at the main seat, thanking everyone for their concern for Gu Cheng, but did not mention anything about Gu Cheng's situation. After that, the restaurant opened for dinner. There are two types of dinner, Chinese and Western, with exquisite dishes and tangy aromas. Ning Yi found that sitting in this seat is simply not more convenient. So she repaid her kindness and said to Gu Cheng, "My husband, you can't eat it, let me introduce it to you three." Gu Cheng. "The pan-fried foie gras is served now, and I will eat 10 in one bite." Gu Cheng was very indifferent, but unexpectedly did not interrupt. The best friend next to Ding Ziyu gritted her teeth, "She just sits there and eats with peace of mind? She's really thick-skinned." Ding Ziyu's complexion was also not good, but after a few seconds, she smiled mysteriously again. There is only one explanation for Ning Yi's personality change: so much she must have abused young Master Gu, making herself feel like stepping on someone else's head. Otherwise, How could she be so calm and calm? It seems that she has to find a chance to visit as soon as possible. Young Master Gu in the dark is still waiting for her rescue. So Ding Ziyu got up gracefully, and raised her wine glass. Aunt Song Lan, I would like to take the opportunity that everyone is here today, and invite everyone to come to Ding's house to attend my welcome banquet next week. I was envious all of a sudden. Wow, as expected of the daughter of the Ding family, your family spoils you so much, you. Ding Ziyu looked at Ning Yi, who was eating with her head down, and sighed softly. Everyone knows that I have inadvertently taken over the identity of my younger sister for so many years. In fact, I have always felt guilty and worried. So Xiao, you will come to participate. Generally speaking, there is no fake daughter who is willing to admit that she has occupied the magpie's nest, but Ding Ziyu is different. Although she is a fake daughter, she has a more powerful real family, so she can speak out frankly, and even has a kind of superiority sense. Ning Yi took a moment to glance at her. Ding Ziyu's words were indeed stepping on the original owner's pain point if she wanted to say she was willing to go, but when she was taken back to Ning's house, let alone the welcome banquet, her biological parents didn't even say a few words to her, so how could she go? Can you see how Ding Ziyu is loved so much in her new home? If you say you don't want to go, it means that you have resentment in your heart and you are not generous enough. Ding Ziyu has already taken the initiative to show you that you don't know how to flatter her. No wonder in the plot, the original owner's psychology was so twisted that he dug a hole in the tablecloth under the dining table. For a moment, everyone looked over, waiting for Ning Yi's answer. Yes, Ning Yi nodded and smiled, and asked a question of concern. Then can your meal standard meet the banquet standard of the Gu family? Ding Ziyu was taken aback. Song Lan also looked over. Ding Ziyu never expected that Ning Yi would throw back a more difficult question for her. If she said that of course it was better than the Gu family, she would be suspected of underestimating the Gu family. Song Lan must be dissatisfied with her. How could she visit young Master Gu? If she wants to say that she is not as good as the Gu family, then how should she explain that she invited everyone so confidently just now and got unanimous envy? Just now she provoked her and Gu Ziyu, and now she is setting up a trap for her. Why is Ning Yi so scheming? In the end, Ding Ziyu had no choice but to stammer and say, of course, our family will work hard. Ning Yi nodded in a very big way, then you all work hard. Ding Ziyu's face almost turned green. Why does she use this attitude? Just let young Master Gu let her abuse him behind his back? After she healed first young Master Gu and helped him rise stronger, she was waiting to see Ning Yi's miserable end. Looking at the heroine's green face, Ning Yi ate a piece of grilled sea bass with basil leaves. Then she moaned to Gu Cheng very contentedly, does husband want to eat? Just say if you want to eat. Gu Cheng's voice was indifferent, I don't want to be greasy or meaty. Ning Yi said in a doting tone, I don't believe what you say in anger. Gu Cheng. He has lived on the bottle for 3 years, and he can no longer accept all the irritating smells of meat and oil. The reason why Gu Cheng didn't interrupt her was because the rich and powerful circle has always been hypocritical. In a social occasion like a dinner party, anyone who really eats like Ning Yi must be an outcast. The darkest intuition in Gu Cheng's heart told him that the worse Ning Yi's situation was, the more opportunities she would need to exchange bodies with him, wouldn't it? With dark malice, Gu Cheng asked in a low voice, did you enjoy your meal? Ning Yi was watching and waiting for the last hard dish of today's dinner, the best braised pork with 2 black heads in Jinhua. After it was delivered, it was crystal clear, and the color of the meat was like a work of art. Happy. Ning Yi put the meat into her mouth happily, and invited without distraction, I really want you to come and taste it, husband. As soon as the words fell, a strand of her hair was blown by the wind. In the next second, the people of Gukan had already been cut. Gu Cheng. Ning Yi. She's just being polite, doesn't she really want to change? On the other side, Gu Cheng was sitting at the dining table expressionlessly, with a big mouthful of fat and oily braised pork stuffed in his mouth, which almost fell out. Ding Xiu has been staring at Ning Yi's mistake unwillingly, and now she finally catches it, and hurriedly came over to teach him. "Oh sister, you don't know table manners, let me teach you." Gu Cheng took a deep breath, held back his breath, picked up the napkin, folded it skillfully with his slender fingers, and gently wiped off the oil on his lips. Every inch of movement is impeccable elegance. Then he bit the piece of fat and exhausted his lifelong cultivation. Swallowed like shit. "Ning Yi, you are doing well." The whole table fell silent. Ding Xiu, who was talking about teaching Ning Yi table manners, turned pale. Ning Yi, a bumpkin from the countryside, when did he learn such standard table manners? This level of proficiency is like having participated in countless banquets. Ding Xiu herself can't do it so perfectly. Ding Xiu was immediately placed on the stage without embarrassment. At this time, Gu Cheng was in Ning Yi's body, his forehead was tense, and he had no time to pay attention to other people's reactions. Because someone was yelling in his ear angrily, Ning Yi couldn't wait to shake his shoulders. "Braised pork! My braised pork! Gu Cheng!" Gu Cheng faced everyone. "I'm sorry, I really don't have much education." Ding Xiu and her girlfriends smirked. "He he he." Some people swallowed their saliva. Is this still called uneducated? Are they savages then? After the small dinner at the Gu family ended, everyone in the wealthy circle left with different expressions. The purpose of these celebrity daughters gathering here is to inquire about the situation of Gukan. Judging from the attitude of the Gu family, Gukan probably has no signs of recovery. But they originally thought that Ning Yi's daughter-in-law would be submissive, but she was not what they thought at all. Among the crowd, Ding Xiu looked the ugliest. This young Master Gu is so arrogant until she wakes up. If she wakes up, she won't be able to go to heaven. I really hope young Master Gu wakes up now. Seeing Ning Yi like this will definitely cure her. You don't even need to think that young Master Gu will definitely kick her off. How could he have a crush on Ning Yi? After a pause, someone asked in a low voice. Then, if we really wake up, is there still hope for young Master Gu and I? Ha ha ha, get out. If Gu Cheng could really wake up, it would definitely be a fight. Ding Xiu, who had been silent all this time, smiled slightly. Seeing the ladies expecting Gu Cheng to wake up, her sense of superiority was extremely strong, and most of the unhappiness and depression caused by Ning Yi dissipated. She would never reveal to others that, according to that dream, young Master Gu would wake up in the near future. He came back as king, and without changing his aura, he was the first to deal with this vicious woman, Ning Yi. In order to see that day as soon as possible, her healing plan must be implemented as soon as possible. When Song Lan was stopped by Ding Xiu, she was a little surprised. After Ding Xiu gave up her marriage with Gu Cheng, Song Lan didn't pay much attention to her anymore. "What is it today?" Ding Xiu said. "Auntie Song Lan, I know that my sister still doesn't accept me. She has knots in her heart and sees things on the dark side, but it's all my fault. I will try to influence her." Song Lan raised her eyebrows slightly. She was used to seeing all kinds of people and hearing all kinds of speech skills, so she heard some meaning from Ding Xiu's words. Ding Xiu had an obedient smile on her face. "I would like to visit young Master Gu. After all, we have known each other since we were young, and I believe young Master Gu will be able to tide over the difficulties." Song Lan understood her reason for coming. Her eyebrows were gentle, but she smiled. "It's okay, now that Ning Yi is married to Ah Cheng, just leave this matter to her." Ding Xiu's smile froze. Song Lan patted her hand and left. Ding Xiu stood where she was and stomped unwillingly. Her life is a pampered life, no one can stop her. She must become young Master Gu's light. Song Lan walked to the door of Gu Cheng's ward, and called out to Ning Yi. Tonight, she and Mr. Gu, who was drinking tea on the second floor of the banquet hall, were paying attention to this daughter-in-law. And Ning Yi was much better than they expected, frank, confident, and unaffected. And it feels like she's in good health. It is a blessing to be able to eat. Song Lan and Mr. Gu agreed that they needed to get to know this daughter-in-law better and include her in their family. But at this time Ning Yi's body was Gu Cheng. He rubbed his temples and warned Ning Yi darkly, "Stop shouting." Looking up, Song Lan walked over gently. She granted permission to Ning Yi, and she was the only person in the whole manor who could visit Gu Cheng freely except for the nurses. Aiken's body care has been managed by the most professional team in the past 3 years, so you don't have to worry about it. It's just that you are his closest person now. Can I leave the scrubbing to you? Song Lan observed Ning Yi's expression. This move was mainly to test Ning Yi's character and patience. Of course, Song Lan would not let her suffer in vain. She had already opened another black card and planned to give it to Ning Yi in a few days. Gu Cheng looked at his mother, was silent for a moment, but smiled. "Okay, that's what I should do." Song Lan looked at Ning Yi and was a little moved. The child promised so smoothly, he really is kind-hearted. Gu Cheng returned to the ward, looking at his body lying on the bed, his black eyes filled with interest. He was looking forward to it. How would this affectionate wife take care of him? "Husband, you are here." Ning Yi felt his breath. She was still weeping because of the braised pork. "Mao Mao Tu, she just tasted it and left, which is really cheap for her dead husband." "Yet," Gu Cheng responded, and sat down on the chair beside the bed, still sad. "No, I thought about it, and I'm willing to let you eat it." Ning Yi forced her in her heart, but her mouth was very emotional. "I'm willing to do anything for you." Gu Cheng's eyes were cold. "Will you do anything?" Ning Yi has no sense of shame. "Of course, husband." Gu Cheng rested his face on his elbow with one hand. "My mother asks you to help me scrub and massage me every day. I think you are very willing." Ning Yi. Ning Yi is innocent. It's a pity that I can't change it now, husband. "Really?" Gu Cheng smiled softly, his voice was low and magnetic. "Are you trying?" Ning Yi lay flat and comfortable. "I'm trying. I'm thinking tonight's menu, smiley face, foie gras with Boston lobster, black truffle cheese and 2 black braised pork that she didn't eat." Gu Cheng leaned back in the chair, smiled sullenly. "Don't worry, just take your time." Ning Yi expresses that I am working so hard in a constipated voice. If the exchange between the two sides is considered once, it has been changed 2.5 today, and the last half time was after it was cooled down. She accidentally changed it again when eating braised pork just now. Then the current cooling time is roughly 8 hours. Enough for her to have a good night's sleep. Gu Cheng is also thinking about the mechanism of the swap. This exchange was hasty and sudden. Gu Cheng only knew the approximate interval, which was about an hour, and there was no pattern. At present, it can be felt that their swaps are very random. So, under this uncertainty, both parties are actually equally passive. Gu Cheng's eyes were dark, which was a good thing. He sat in front of the bed for a while. Ning Yi tried hard and then lost his voice, and seemed to have fallen asleep again. There was a cold mockery in Gu Cheng's dark eyes. If Ning Yi is a simple, lazy person, it will save him trouble. He stood up gently, ready to leave. Just 2 steps away, Ning Yi's half-dream, half-awake voice came from a dazed and soft voice. "Braised pork, is it fragrant?" "Gu Cheng." "Ha ha. Spit out." Late at night, Ning Yi fell asleep in Gu Cheng's body. However, halfway through her sleep, she heard the cooling sound of the main computer when it was running. As soon as he opened his eyes, he was sitting in the study of another building, with an open laptop in front of him. Obviously Gu Cheng was working just now. She yawned. "Honey, are we back again?" "Yet." Gu Cheng's voice was sober, and he recalled the computer page just now. "It's 0. After 0 o'clock, the two sides automatically switched back. This is a new law." Ning Yi narrowed her eyes and looked at Gu Cheng's browsing web page. The boss has started to pay attention to business investment trends and the latest technological developments. It is indeed the existence that still beats and crushes everyone after its rise. So she did not hesitate to write down the companies he followed. It's not too much to prostitute her husband's idea of making money. All marital property. Ning Yi was still very sleepy after whoring. When I returned to my body, all the noises around my ears came back, even the dogs in the manor running outside could be heard. How could it compare to her free silent zero-pressure 5-star hotel double room? So she thoughtfully said to Gu Cheng, "Come back, my husband? You use my body to work, I don't mind." "It doesn't matter to me," Gu Cheng said in a cool voice, "since it's back, I'm still waiting for you to scrub me tomorrow." "Ning Yi?" Ning Yi smiled all over her face. "How about killing him tonight?" The next day, Ning Yi wore earplugs, yawned and opened his eyes. Even with earplugs, she could still hear various noises, including the sound of servants coming into the other building to clean in the morning. The quality of sleep is greatly reduced compared to that in Gu Cheng's body. Ning Yi directly switched the account. "Honey, it's daytime, come over and continue working." "It doesn't matter if I lie down." Gu Cheng sneered. "But he does have work to do." He left the ward with Ning Yi's body. In the corner, Ding Zio watched Ning Yi leave indifferently, the corners of her mouth curled up triumphantly. Gu Zizong asked her brother to cooperate with the Ding family, so he would naturally help her. So what if Songlan doesn't let her come? She could still come to young Master Gu's side. Ding Zio looked at Ning Yi, who was walking away, and felt a surge of excitement in her heart. Ning Yi would never know that she just caught the opportunity she created. Ding Zio quietly pushed open the door of the ward, and walked towards the man on the bed step by step. Gu Cheng is still as in memory. His brow bone was high, his eye sockets were deep, and his bones were extremely superior. When he was lying down with his eyes closed, the edges and corners of his face were as perfect as a sculpture. And when these eyes were opened, they were so sharp and breathtaking. Ding Zio's heart thumped when she thought about it. Because he had been lying down for too long, he lost a lot of weight, his face was also very pale, and he felt a bit broken from falling from the throne, and he was lying peacefully at this moment. However, Ding Ziu knew that under this calm face, there must be a lot of pain and struggle hidden. "Ning Yi, surprised face?" She felt someone was coming from just now. The pace is different from that of Gu Cheng, Song Lan, and the previous nurses and servants. The man walked briskly, with a kind of childish madness. "Who is, surprised face?" Ding Ziu knew that Gu Cheng was a clean freak who didn't like to be touched before the accident, so she suppressed her excitement and didn't do anything rashly, but first observed the signs of abuse on Gu Cheng's body. After looking around, she curled her lips. There was no wound on Gu Cheng's exposed skin. It seems that her sister is not stupid, and the wound must have been left in a hidden place. So how can she let Gu Cheng know that she is here to heal and redeem him? Ning Yi waited for a while as if she was watching a play, and suddenly felt her hands being picked up. Whoa! Ning Yi regained her spirits. She recalled the plot, but she didn't remember who the boss had a relationship with. Apart from throwing her vicious ex-wife into a mental hospital, Gu Cheng is an emotionless boss. The main role after awakening is to suppress the male lead, suppress the male supporting role, and suppress all the characters. It is unreasonably strong and illogical. It is hard to provide twists and turns for the protagonist's emotional line. After all, it's a brainless pet article, and the author's age must not be as old as a shoe size. Ning Yi can understand. At this time, Gu Cheng was looking at the financial data released by the Gu family in the past 3 years. Several projects that were promoted 3 years ago were all completed well. Seems to be pushing new ground lately. Ning Yi's voice came over. "Honey, someone is holding your hand." "Who?" Gu Cheng asked casually while looking at the financial report. "Do not know." "What are you good at?" Ding Zio blushed, her heart pounding. This is Guken that everyone will still look up to and admire in the future. Holding Gu Cheng's hand, she was full of tenderness. I'm here, young Master Gu. Ning Yi answered, writing in the palm of your hand. Gu Cheng paused, with a trace of doubt in his indifference, what to write. Ning Yi watched it for a while, dutifully recounted it to others stroke by stroke. Yes, Ding, Zi, Ui, come, do, you, they, light Gu Cheng. Silence for 2 seconds. Is she stupid? Ning Yi lay flat on the bed, almost pouted with a smile. She doesn't even know that the heroine still has this line? Homemade? In fact, in the original plot, Gu Cheng was accidentally lying on the bed as a vegetable for 3 years, which was originally a setting made by the author. Otherwise, theoretically, the brain function of a vegetable should be completely damaged, without consciousness, and can only maintain breathing and heartbeat. However, the boss not only has a clear mind and normal consciousness, but also the functions of his body organs have not degenerated, as if he was frozen at that time. As far as the medical method can't find out the reason, it's completely set by the world. The purpose is to force the boss to be abused and blackened, and then rise up and crush him. It's easy to guess the heroine's train of thought. The heroine of Chongguan doesn't need to explain why she cheated. She probably did it because she knew that Gu Cheng would be able to wake up. Ning Yi thought it was very interesting, and Ding Zio would probably come here often in the future. It was simply a ready-made pleasure. When Ding Zio came out of the ward, she also had a smile on her face. Although Gu Cheng, who was lying on the bed, couldn't make any response, but she believed that her appearance had shone into his heart like a ray of warm sun. Walking and walking, Ding Zio met Ning Yi, who came back. Gu Cheng was holding a bag of things in his hand, and he glanced at her as if he was mentally handicapped. Ding Zio took the expression on his face as vigilance and suspicion. She quickly smiled, "Sister, I just came to deliver something to Aunt Song Lan, so I met you by such a coincidence." Gu Cheng didn't have a deep impression of Ding Zio, and the baby kiss that the elders in the family made more than 10 years ago didn't mean anything to him. Now he doesn't know, what exactly does this woman want to do? Seeing that Ning Yi didn't speak, Ding Zio smiled heartily, and then her expression became more sincere and friendly. "Will you come to my welcome banquet? My brother has been very troubled in the preparations these days, and the venue has booked the best hotel. They also invited a lot of bands from abroad. You must come." Ding Zio knew that the fact that she was favored in her new home would definitely irritate Ning Yi, and maybe she would double abuse young Master Gu when she returned to the ward. In this way, Gu Das Hao, who was warmed by her just now, will feel her kindness even more. Ding Zio smiled. Gu Cheng also remembered Ding family. 3 years ago, an investment failure named Ding Yusen came to him and almost knelt down. Judging by age, is her brother? Sure enough, a nest of mentally handicapped. Ning Yi lay down all morning, making up for the sleep she owed last night, feeling her soul stretched. He let out a big yawn with satisfaction. "Are you awake?" A cold voice rang in my ear. "Husband, you are here." Ning Yi was obedient. After she finished speaking, she felt a cold on her hands. Ning Yi's first reaction was that the boss was going to abuse her. He reacted in the next second, but he didn't need to hurt his body, did he? There wasn't any pain or discomfort in the hands, it was just cold. The touch ran along her palm, to the back of her hand, and then to every crevice of her fingers. Meticulous and patient. Ning Yi asked, "Husband, what are you doing?" Gu Cheng held the disinfectant wipes, wiped his hands with a sullen expression. "Disinfect." Ning Yi was taken aback for a moment, then died laughing. "Thus you annihilate your light." Gu Cheng wiped it twice, threw the tissue into the trash can, and suddenly asked in a low voice, "Where is Yi?" "Ning Yi? It's definitely not a good thing to call it so nice." Sure enough, Gu Cheng's voice was cold, with a bit of indescribable evil. aren't you going to wipe my body today? You love me so much, don't you look forward to it? Ning Yi? Don't be too confident, who would covet your body? Ning Yi politely switched back to her own body, which happened to be standing by the bed and looking down, stared at Gu Cheng for 3 seconds. I thought, okay. It is indeed a bit of a feast for the eyes. Gu Cheng's crushing in the book is not only in the business field, he also beats everyone in various soft and hard indicators, tens of billions of net worth, the helm of the group, the face shortlisted in the top 100 in the world, a sick beauty lying down, standing it looks like 180 HUAB. Even that thing is the strongest and biggest in the book. Ning Yi rubbed her chin, but it was a pity that she knew that he was the big boss of the dark world, but the cannon fodder that would be killed by him in the future. Let Ding Ziyu write a word on the palm of his hand and have to disinfect it twice. If he really wants to wipe his body, who knows if he will hold grudges in his heart. Ning Yi was thinking about how to fool her, when the butler knocked on the door gently. Miss, Madam invited you to the main house for lunch. Ning Yi, here comes Buddy. The housekeeper asked me to have dinner, my husband, Ning Yi said while being embarrassed, and quickly left the ward. You know, I don't want to be absent. Gu Cheng's voice was cold, hee. Ning Yi has no sense of guilt and Mimi cheats. The original owner had just married into the Gu family not long ago, and this was the first time she would see all the Gu family members at the dinner table. Ning Yi followed the butler all the way into the main house. Compared with the cold and simple building in Gukan, the architectural style of the main house is more gorgeous, with European classical charm, and there are priceless paintings hanging beside the handrail of the spiral staircase. Ning Yi followed into the restaurant, and Song Lan saw her waving, Xiao Yi, come and sit. On the main seat was the old man of the Gu family, holding a teacup but with clear eyes. He looked like a very powerful old man. Gu Cheng's father left early, and the next seat was Song Lan, Gu Cheng's uncle Gu Zizong and others, and then the young people. Ning Yi sat down opposite a young boy. The other party was also looking at Ning Yi, as if observing her. Husband, there is a little boy who looks a lot like you, Ning Yi communicated with Gu Cheng in his head. It's him who dyed the thing on his head green. Gu Cheng said, it should be Gu Li, my younger brother. Ning Yi didn't know why the other party was so tense, but she understood after a while after lunch started. Gu Li's 3 words are inseparable from his brother, purely a fanboy, and the Gu family's firm Gu Cheng will wake up party. There is also an unsteady party, like Gu Zizong, who at the dinner table looks like he wants to lead the future of the Gu family, talking about his latest project, and mentioning a few words about the Ding family. He admires both Ding Yusen and Ding Ziyu look. While listening to the undercurrent in the Gu family, Ning Yi paid attention to the filet mignon that was being served by the servant. As soon as he picked up the knife and fork, Gu Cheng's cool voice came from his ear, I ignored me. Ning Yi held the knife and fork, and said to herself, then I will give you some sense of participation, kissy face. She squeezed the clip and said, husband help me cut the steak. Women will act like a spoiled child, and husbands will float in marriage. The corners of Gu Cheng's lips curled slightly, without reminding her of something. Now that the exchange has become more and more skillful, Ning Yi's body just slightly paused, and Gu Cheng switched over. Gu Zizong is still talking about his grand plans and ambitions. Everyone knows the current situation in Gukan. Our Gu family has been standing still for 3 years, and we can no longer continue to operate according to the rules he set when he was there. Gu Cheng listened to a few words leisurely, then cut the steak for Ning Yi. Gu Zizong saw Ning Yi looking at him from the corner of his eye, and sneered, do you understand? Gu Cheng smiled, and his subordinates sliced the top quality grain-fed beef in a calm manner. His hand holding the knife was slow, the steak was medium rare, tender and juicy, and the light red blood flowed out from under the dill grass. There was an inexplicably familiar feeling of oppression with a chill all over his body. For some reason, Gu Zizong shivered. Gu Cheng cut the steak, and Ning Yi couldn't wait any longer. Have you finished the steak? I know you're meaty and greasy, so I'll help you eat. Oh, before finishing the word oh, Ning Yi suddenly realized that she couldn't move her body. Gu Cheng hooked his lips and smiled lightly. This is the fourth time. It has been swapped 3 times since 0, and there will be a cooldown period between the fourth time. Ning Yi was stunned. Gan? This old cunt. Ning Yi's voice could no longer be contained. Honey, save the steak for me. Gu Cheng's voice was gentle. If it's cold, it won't taste good. Ning Yi was in a hurry. Gu Cheng was full of malice, and there were little smiles in his eyes. This was the first time he really laughed in 3 years. On the other side, Gu Zizong looked at the smile in his eyes, feeling very upset, and leaned over to take the dinner plate from the opposite side. Gu Cheng raised his head with a slight smile, and asked softly, "Why, are you in a hurry to eat too?" Gu Zizong? No matter what. By the time Ning Yi came back, lunch had already come to an end. Although the last 2 dishes of white pepper pork belly chicken and Spanish black pork in honey sauce, as well as the dessert honey were very delicious, Ning Yi still felt heartbroken while eating. After showing off everything, the green-haired boy on the opposite side put the honey on his own plate to her dinner plate. "Sister-in-law, I think you have my brother's aura on you." Gu Li's smile became shy, and his affection for her increased greatly. "I think my brother will like you when he wakes up." Ning Yi was expressionless. "Your brother is dead." Gu Cheng returned to his body, rarely feeling happy. Since the exchange of bodies, he has understood the current situation of the outside world at the fastest speed, and he has also grasped the development of the Ku group in the past 3 years. He doesn't need sleep, that's what he hated the most in the past 3 years. But after 2 days and nights of sleepless nights, did he need a moment of rest? So Ning Yi went directly from the main house back to the study in the other building, picked up the keyboard and tapped a bunch of codes, and threw them into Gu Cheng's computer like throwing shit. Not long after knocking, Song Lan called her out from outside the study. In all fairness, Song Lan is actually a good mother-in-law. Fu Yang conscience is very obvious in her case. Except for the accident of the eldest son, she has not encountered too many ups and downs, so she has always been gentle, and she was also good to Ning Yi in the early stage of the original plot. But the original owner felt inferior and tense, feeling that no one in the Gu family could think highly of her, and she was constantly broken by Ding Ziho pulling the control group outside, so her psychological distortion could only vent her anger on her speechless vegetable husband. By the time Song Lan found out that Gu Cheng was being abused, it was already too late, and she almost got angry. Ning Yi would not let Song Lan do this. Song Lan twirled her hair, with a warm face, "Can I entrust Xiao Ai with what I said yesterday?" Ning Yi knows it's about scrubbing, but who wants to scrub Lao Yinbai, scum? Song Lan implicitly handed over a shiny golden black card, "Please." Ning Yi immediately took it with both hands, "Okay, no problem." The black card made of titanium alloy, with a credit limit of 10 million, shone with low-key luxury. Here, if necessary, she can wipe her husband's bald skin today. 3. The nurse for scrubbing and massage will not be used tomorrow. Ning Yi propped up the tentacles of the devil in his heart. Song Lan had a gentle attitude, "You don't have to be polite to buy whatever you want. Although Ah Cheng is not here these few years, our Gu family can still afford it." Ning Yi, yet. Then when he thought of something, he suddenly smiled affectionately, "Then I'll change my husband to a more comfortable mattress first." However, Song Lan was taken aback when she heard the words, and was deeply moved. How can there be any sincerity in the intrigue among the rich and powerful? After Ah Cheng's accident, how many people are willing to consider him sincerely? Ning Yi is really. If Ah Cheng can wake up, he will definitely like her very much. No problem, you can choose for yourself. Ning Yi carefully selected ultra-luxury and high-quality mattresses for her lying quality. Late at night, a caring wife can naturally realize that her husband is resting after her husband has not made a sound for a long time. So when Gu Cheng fell asleep and suddenly vacated, Ning Yi has a doting face. Household electric patient care hoist solves the problem of difficult movement of bedridden patients. Gu Cheng was hung up to change the mattress with a blank expression. Ning Yi, husband, don't be moved, this is what I should do for you. Gu Cheng. What did he dare to move? Ning Yi just gave the big brother a little tease. Then before Gu Cheng could react, she switched bodies. Of course, the main reason is to feel the new mattress you choose for the first time. Then Ning Yi found out that it's actually quite interesting to hang around. It's like sitting on a swing, creaking. Gu Cheng stood aside indifferently. The four servants worked together to put the thick mattress on, and then gently and carefully put them back on the bed from the crane. They were still surprised when the young lady said that the mattress was going to be changed, but after thinking about it, young Master Gu would not be disturbed anyway. It's still the young lady who is considerate of her husband. Gu Li also came over to watch for a while, and said to Ning Yi, "Sister-in-law, you are so kind to my brother." Gu Cheng. Where is the good thing? After a few minutes, Ning Yi finally lay down on the luxurious mattress she had carefully selected. Not only is it big and thick, but it also has good support for the spine, and at the same time retains a soft feel, like a soft cloud with support. It is worthy of a mattress worth hundreds of thousands of yuan. Ning Yi's sense of happiness while lying flat has reached a new height. After everyone else left with interest, Gu Cheng leaned on the head of the bed with a gloomy face. "Do you like it?" "Yeah, husband, I tried it and it's not bad, but I think you will not be able to adapt to the sudden change of mattress," Ning Yi said in a warm tone. "For you, let me do it for you first. Get used to your body, it doesn't matter if I endure it." Gu Cheng lowered his eyes, and his voice was a little playful. I chose it himself, and I am willing if I am not suitable." "Ning Yi? Start to learn from me, right? Ning Yi, don't even think about defeating me. But my husband is the most powerful man in the world. He deserves the best. I can't bear to hurt him a little bit. If anyone breaks my husband's wings, I will destroy his entire heaven. If anyone breaks my husband..." Gu Cheng paused. "Okay, shut up. Ning Yi, good night, I love you, Jimmy." Gu Cheng returned to the study next to the ward with a blank expression. "It was still early in the morning, but since I woke up, I didn't plan to sleep." In order to change the mattress for him, Ning Yi didn't sleep just now. The computer was turned on, but there were no browsing traces. The phone page stays on a game interface, and the record is still very low. Ah! Sure enough, it's delicious and lazy, and there are countless things to learn. Gu Cheng put the phone aside, pulled the computer over and continued to analyze the market conditions of several internet-listed stocks, but found that the web page seemed to be much slower than before. He opened another browser, and the screen was stuck for a long time. Then with a bang, something jumped out. The celestial girl falls on the screen like scattered flowers. Take a closer look, all the floating ones are papas. Gu Cheng. Ning Yi slept very, very comfortably this time. Now, Ning Yi wakes up every day from a big bed worth hundreds of thousands in a manor covering thousands of square meters, and Michelin chefs serve fancy dishes every day. View, this is life. Of course, although she now has a black card that she can enjoy freely, she still has to make money by herself. After all, after the boss wakes up, he will definitely divorce her, so she may not be able to hold on to these things. So Ning Yi began to think about the business opportunities in this world. In this brainless pet novel, there are countless male supporting characters around the female lead Ding Xiu, and the last official supporting male lead is the current popular actor. The end of the petting article is that the whole people pet and eat together. The combination of Miss Kyunjin and the actor has become the sweetest CP, and the original owner has always played the role of the control group who is ridiculed. But it is not difficult to see that pet articles need an audience. The female lead becomes the one all girls want to be. However, the self-presentation of the circle of rich and famous ladies still uses the most primitive traditional model of WeChat group and circle of friends. There is no good ecology of going out of the circle, and it is not dazzling enough. How can this work? Happy face, Ning Yi decided to give Chongquen World a big stage. She chose the smallest internet company among several companies that Gu Cheng followed. At present, it is just a small workshop, but according to the rules of this world, Gukan equals success. Ning Yi simply and brutally optimized their website for dimensionality reduction. She has always typed code very fast, with a low error rate and few bugs. After all, people have been in extreme environments for a long time, and as long as they are not dead, they will upgrade. After finishing it with a crackle, Ning Yi did a good job and left his name but his email and phone number. I received a reply from the other party that day, "Boss. Where is the boss?" Judging from his tone, he should be a brother, big brother. If you are free, can you show your face and have dinner together? Shy answer. Jpg Ning Yi thought yes, but if she accidentally switches her body while eating, how can her husband explain it when she sees her eating with another man? Let's talk again when you have time, okay, big brother. While Ning Yi was concentrating on her work, the wealthy circle caused a shock. The reason was that Ning Yi changed the bed. Many servants of the Gu family saw such a big box moved into the other building in Gukan, which had been silent for 3 years, so the news spread outside somehow. It was related to the word Gukan, and every move was heavy news in the wealthy circle, which directly triggered a wave of big discussions. Could it be that young Master Gu has made any movement? Otherwise, why would the good one suddenly change? Is he able to communicate with the outside world? Fug! If young Master Gu can rise again, my mail is coming back? Ha ha ha, isn't it that Ning Yi is going to be kicked? I'm looking forward to it. Ning Yi was stunned because she didn't know, she just wanted to lie down more comfortably, which directly shook the wealthy circle for a day. But Ding Xiu, who saw the news, was very happy. There has been no movement for 3 years, why did young Master Gu change once she went to cure young Master Gu? This shows that young Master Gu must have been healed by her warmth and regained the will to live. So Ding Xiu's circle of friends updated an article, "Let me be your light and dispel the darkness for you." Picture, a specious and affectionate copy, accompanied by 4 photos of trying on a banquet dress, which arouses people's imagination and at the same time inadvertently reveals the posture of the doting heroine held in the palm of the Ding family. Ning Yi can see Ding Xiu's circle of friends, but she doesn't have any friends from wealthy people, so she can't see the comments. However, Ding Xiu has pulled her WeChat into a group before, and the group is quite lively. Yu is so beautiful. Looking forward to the welcome banquet even more. Yu's circle of friends copywriting, who is it for? Bad smile. The last time Yu posted this kind of moments was because of young Master Gu's birthday, right? Ding Xiu, everyone, stop guessing, she won't let other people know what she's doing. Yu, you can come to visit today, Gu Zizong said on the phone, smiling a little flatteringly. I've already arranged for you. You have to help me talk about the project your brother mentioned last time. Ding Xiu smiled, Uncle Gu, don't worry, my brother listens to me. That's good, that's good. Gu Zizong hung up the phone just in time to see Ning Yi walking towards the other building. Hearing that Song Lan was going to test her to clean Gu Cheng, Gu Zizong looked at her and mocked, going to serve Gu Cheng? Ning Yi asked politely, what do you want to do? You. Ning Yi turned around with a smile. Let's go, let's play. No, let's take care of my husband. Gukan has routine care every day. There is a professional team of 30 people in the noble body of the boss, who is taking care of it day after day. It can be said that he lives more exquisitely than most normal human beings who are alive and kicking. However, Ning Yi is in his body now. The euphemistic name is learn the process of taking care of your husband, but she is actually tired of typing codes, smiley face, the family doctor formulates joint mobility training, strength traction, and so on every day. Ning Yi, wow! Ning Yi, oh! Ning Yi, awesome! Gu Cheng. Following Song Lan's instructions, the family doctor finally left the scrubbing work to Ning Yi, who stood aside. They are actually not very relieved. After all, if something goes wrong with young Master Gu's body, no one can afford it. What's more, Ning Yi is still an outsider of the Gu family after all. Asking her to scrub also implies the meaning of his wife's investigation. The doctor was full of distrust. Madam, can you really do it? Gu Cheng asked Ning Yi in his mind, is it possible? Ning Yi pouted, why not? After the doctor left, Gu Cheng's cold voice sounded, is Yi lying down enough? Ning Yi, my husband, after experiencing your life, I love you even more. Gu Cheng sneered, really? Of course it's true. Hee hee. After Ning Yi finished speaking, she changed her body cooperatively and picked up the soft towel for wiping herself. This time Gu Cheng was slightly taken aback. Didn't even play tricks, really want to wipe? Ning Yi, I rub, kissy face. Yesterday, Gu Cheng took advantage of the exchange rule and missed the steak, which is known as the change of fillet steak in history. And today I have changed it 3 times, 1 time for sleep, 1 time for meal, 1 time just now, and the cooling CD for the next swap has arrived. Ning Yi, unexpected. She vowed and said with heartache, hubby, I really want to bear all this for you. The thought command triggers. So Gu Cheng was replaced again. Gu Cheng stood back beside the bed, his eyes turned dark. Ning Yi, you did it on purpose. After the 4th swap, there is another cooldown, but the doctors are off work. So today he can only come by himself. Husband, Qian Fan has seen too much life and death, and I understand a truth. More important than I love you is that you have to cherish yourself. Come on, husband. Take care of your body. Be ruthless. Gu Cheng sneered for a long time. You can. Massage and nursing, the same steps have been repeated for 3 years, no one is more familiar than Gu Cheng. But this is the first time I feel my body like this. He thought he would hate it, hating this body as a cage, which trapped him for 3 years. Or it would be disgusting, sick of this fragile and ugly bedridden. But it all seems to be okay, because another 3 centimeters to the left. The strength can be a little stronger. Exactly. Gu Cheng. While enjoying it, Ning Yi encouraged her, husband, your technique is really good, and your body feels even better. Gu Cheng was silent for a long time, and finally laughed angrily. Gu Cheng pressed it until night, feeling that he had completely reconciled with his body. Ning Yi enjoyed the high-quality service, and finally offset the hatred of the filet mignon. She accepted it as soon as she was ready, and thoughtfully changed her body back. Husband, go to sleep, I will never disturb you this time. Gu Cheng sneered. Gu Cheng closed his eyes. After 3 days without sleep, he finally felt sleepy. Finally, I closed my eyes and fell asleep. A figure quietly walked into the ward and took his hand. You, the light, come, come. Gu Cheng opened his gloomy eyes. Oh shit! Climb! I. What about people? Ning Yi. Gu Cheng couldn't take it anymore. No, Tao, you, present, very, painful, suffering, but, no, relationship, I, will, often, come, accompany, with, you, of Ding Ziyu wrote stroke by stroke. Looking at the quiet and handsome sleeping face of the man on the hospital bed, my heart is full of tenderness and anticipation. When you wake up, you will definitely give me the supreme partiality and love. Because I'm the one who's with you through thick and thin, unlike anyone else. No one can communicate directly from the heart like me and you. Wife. Gu Cheng called Ning Yi in his mind. The black air on his body was almost dripping. The other side. Ning Yi finally waited until the chef had finished baking the pancakes' exclusive specials. Because Ning Yi is the person who eats the most delicious food in the whole Gu family and gives the chef the most sense of accomplishment, so the chef likes her very much. Ning Yi squatted by the oven and waited for a long time, until he took a bite of the pancake before responding, I'm here, what's the matter, husband? Come back, Gu Cheng's voice was so cold, your sister is here, come over and drive her away. On the tip of Ning Yi's tongue, the crust is crispy and waxy. The egg yolk is filled with salty sweetness and softness. It's so delicious. Come on. Listening to the voice, the boss must have endured to the limit, okay, because he was really serious about scrubbing and massaging just now. Ning Yi sold him some thin noodles. She carried 4 small western cakes, and still held one in her mouth. Husband, don't be afraid of me here. Ding Zio wanted to continue to warm Gu Cheng and inject more strength into him, but suddenly heard 2 knocks on the door of the ward. Knock knock. Ding Zio panicked. This is the secret signal that Gu Zizong told her in advance. Once Ning Yi or someone else is coming back, he will remind her. Now she must not let others know about her healing plan. So Ding Zio got up quietly and quickly left the other building, making sure that no one had noticed her. After Ning Yi came over, he looked up at the surveillance camera downstairs, and then wandered back to the ward. Glancing at the boss on the bed, Ning Yi picked up the unused disinfectant tissue from last time and disinfected his hands. Gu Cheng's hostility finally dissipated. Sleep. Ning Yi patted her hands. Gu Cheng let out a breath. Finally light sleep. Ning Yi pulled up a chair beside her with the cake in her mouth, and flipped her fingers while holding the computer. After Gu Cheng woke up, Ning Yi lay down directly in relay style. Call me at dinner time, my husband. Jimmy. Ning Yi slowly closed her eyes. Gu Cheng is already familiar with her daily life. After taking the computer Ning Yi was using just now, it was indeed a game interface. Other traces of browsing and operation are very clean, so clean, somewhat deliberate. Gu Cheng's eyebrows twitched slightly. Is there really none, or is it hidden? Today the family doctor and nursing team came as usual, along with Song Lan. After the inspection, Gu Cheng's scrubbing work yesterday was unanimously approved by the family doctor. My wife's massage technique is very good. It's like I have been studying for years. Gu Cheng, hee. Song Lan was very moved, and felt that the black card was too little. If Xiao Ai needs anything, please mention it. Gu Cheng, I don't need it. He was about to exit the ward, but when he walked around the bed, he caught a glimpse of something. Ning Yi's hand moved very slightly. Gu Cheng's pupil shrank. Check him out. Gu Cheng grabbed the doctor. The family doctor was stunned, because Mr. Gu's physiological function has remained in a fixed state for a long time, so the physical examination is carried out every 3 days, and today has not arrived yet. Gu Cheng insisted, check it out. The medical equipment provided by Gu's family is comparable to that of a third-class hospital. The family doctor did a CT scan and MRI of the brain, and found that Gu Cheng's EEG, which had not changed for 3 consecutive years, had changed. Young Master Gu is conscious? This is a very huge news, like a torpedo blasted into the deep sea. Keep calm on the surface. Song Lan suppressed all excitement, and secretly spent a lot of money to invite the most famous doctors and scholars in the country to come to Gu's house as quickly as possible. For the first time in 3 years there is hope. After people leave, Gu Cheng leaned against the bed, looking at Ning Yi in his body, inside. Something dusty seems to be finally breaking ground. What makes them soul swap? And what were you thinking that made his body move for the first time? Gu Cheng lowered his eyes. After a few seconds, Ning Yi's ravings were heard. Roast goose. Gu Cheng. Ning Yi Mimi fell asleep and woke up, not knowing what kind of earthquake she was about to cause. Gu Cheng also looked silent and profound. After changing her body, Ning Yi unexpectedly received a call from her biological parents. Ever since the original owner married into the Gu family to complete the task, they seemed to have forgotten about her. "How are you doing at Gu's house? Remember to go to Yui's welcome banquet, dress nicely, and don't embarrass our family. By the way, how is young Master Gu?" Ning Yi held the phone between her arms, feeling bored. These parents really didn't care about the original owner, and they called to inquire about Gu Cheng's situation. In the welcome banquet in the original plot, Ning Yi Chun was just a cannon fodder for the control group. She had no dress or accessories and was forced to attend the banquet. In the end, when we went to the scene, we found that the Ding family had invited a bunch of reporters, and even walked the red carpet, making it as grand as a celebrity party, and wanted to let the whole country know that their biological daughter had been found. As a result, some good people revealed the true and false daughters of the wealthy family, making the embarrassing original owner the focus. At that time, her mentality was distorted and she abused her husband every day. Not to mention showing her original appearance, she looked mentally abnormal. Compared with the glamorous heroine who is so charming and pampered, it is really trampled into the dust. Tut tut. Apart from being almost stepped on by a zombie, Ning Yi has never been stepped on by anyone in this life. After hanging up the phone, Song Lan came over to call her. There was movement in Gukan, and Song Lan was in high spirits on happy occasions, and felt that Ning Yi was simply the lucky star of the Gu family. "Xiao Ai, let's go shopping." Song Lan smiled gently, "Let Liel carry things for us." Gu Li emerged from behind. He was going to play with the third son of the Zhao family, but that guy didn't know why he was programming at home every day like chicken blood, what platform he wanted to use, and said that he met a super boss and wanted to take him away. Gu Li doesn't believe it. Is there anyone bigger than his brother in this world? Gu Li saluted Ning Yi, "Leave it to me, sister-in-law." Ning Yi thought that she was also a little rich woman with a black card, so she agreed. The three of them got on the super long Bentley and went straight to the mall. Ning Yi went shopping with Song Lan, and bought a cheese and sweet potato with oolong frozen milk. After eating, I went to the bathroom, and when I came out, I met a familiar person. This is how the world of Chongquen is, everything revolves around the heroine. Ding Zia walked in the middle carrying Hermes Kelly, with wealthy daughters on both sides. When they raised their eyes, they also saw Ning Yi, and they were taken aback for a moment. Why is it that this person's skin condition and demeanor have improved so much after not seeing him for a few days? It seemed that after getting enough rest every day, the translucent and good complexion from the inside out brought out 100% of her originally covered facial features. But Ding Zia looked at the t-shirt and trousers that Ning Yi was wearing, which was incompatible with the surrounding luxury stores, and immediately regained her sense of superiority. She had predicted the future in her dream, and the welcome banquet was an important occasion for her to gain more attention and favor, and Ning Yi was nothing compared to her at this banquet. Seeing her come to the mall, she must also want to dress herself up, right? It's a pity that Ning Yi couldn't afford a single piece of clothes in this mall. The famous daughter and daughter beside her also think so. The welcome banquet is tomorrow, are you ready? If you have any difficulties, you can directly mention them. Otherwise I'm afraid that you won't be able to enter the door tomorrow, and that would be a disgrace to the two families. Ning Yi smacked her lips. She is like this, she is very laid back when she is fine, but it is impossible for others to output by riding her face. Ning Yi smiled and looked at Ding Ziyu, "You must be very busy these 2 days, right?" Ding Ziyu smiled secretly, "Of course, the foreign band invited by my father is going to rehearse, and their performance must satisfy me." These words immediately aroused the envy of the sisters. "I'm so envious, Yu. You will be the most watched little princess tomorrow." Ning Yi nodded approvingly, but only 2 words were needed to defeat them. "Then why do you still have time to visit Gukan's ward?" Sure enough, throwing down a sentence directly stirred up waves. "What, Gu Cheng. Yu, when did you go to see young Master Gu? Is he awake? Why didn't you tell us? Ding Ziho panicked suddenly. How could Ning Yi know? She forcibly stabilized her mind again. Ning Yi was so scheming that she had provoked her and Gu Zihu before, this time she must be cheating. He was already cautious enough, and even asked Gu Zizong to help delete the monitoring in the Gu family manor. No, don't listen to my sister's nonsense. I didn't. Ning Yi took out her phone and played a video. The monitoring screen is quite clear. Ding Ziyu is smiling and sneaking away from the other building, and there is an exact time in the lower right corner. Alas, with this kind of home security level monitoring, she can get in the dark. Now Ding Ziyu is stupid. The sisters are in a hurry. Yu, you still want to hide it from us? Yu, we won't be angry if you say it out. Is young Master Gu awake? Have you spoken to him? Is it your circle of friends yesterday whose light are you going to be? Is it young Master Gu? Seeing that posture almost tore up, Ning Yi left behind a chicken feather, and walked away calmly with her hands on her back. Then she called Gu Cheng in her mind, "Husband, I have something to tell you." When Gu Cheng heard her tone, he inexplicably felt that nothing good happened. What? That Ning Yi paused, and then quickly said, "I may have found a lot of light for you again." Gu Cheng remained expressionless. Ning Yi returned to Song Lan's side, and Song Lan just waved. The store they are staying in now is a high-end private custom brand in the shopping mall. It is the only high-end custom made by Chinese people. It cooperates with Song Lan's jewelry brand. She has always been the high-end VIP here. Xiaoi, come and try on this dress. Song Lan's own aesthetic vision is very good, but now Ning Yi's facial features are no longer suppressed by the dark and inferior temperament as before, they are clean and beautiful like washed pearls and jade. Just a little bit of decoration is enough to amaze everyone. Ah, okay. Ning Yi was not used to getting along with elders, and didn't know what to say, so she tried obediently. When she walked out of the fitting room, Song Lan's eyes lit up. Their daughter-in-law, isn't this much more beautiful than the daughter of this family? Gu Li was also shocked, sister-in-law is so beautiful? I never noticed it before. Ning Yi was shy, look at how good you are at talking, you wiped the out of your little mouth. All the service staff in the store concentrated their fire on her. Miss, this figure is too outstanding. Your skin is fair and your facial features are exquisite, wearing this skirt is too temperamental. Ning Yi looked in the mirror and felt that she was astonishingly beautiful. She triumphantly shared it with Gu Cheng, honey, they all praise me for being beautiful. Really? Gu Cheng lost interest. Then Ning Yi suddenly remembered something. Honey, Ning Yi asked, after we switched bodies, have you never looked in the mirror? Gu Cheng, well. What? Ning Yi was shocked. In other words, it's been so long that the dead husband doesn't even know what she looks like? Ning Yi, okay, then you must not take pictures. Gu Cheng. Ning Yi, I'm afraid you'll fall in love with me. Gu Cheng. How is this possible? After spending most of the shopping mall with Song Lan can continue to fight. Ning Yi is already tired from shopping, sure enough, she is better suited to lie flat. Get up and drive back to the palace, and change her tools. Old Gong Ning Yi called out to Gu Cheng, come and go shopping with mom, I know you haven't had any chance to be filial in the past 3 years. Oh. Gu Cheng smiled lightly, I is really filial and sensible. Ning Yi thoughtfully said, it's all what I should do. She took out her black card and held it between her index and middle fingers. When Gu Cheng was replaced by her, she saw this card and heard her say generously, swipe my card. If you want to eat Malatang or Zhongxiang pancake, I will satisfy you. With dessert in her stomach, Ning Yi lay down beautifully. When she changed her body again, Ning Yi saw the credit card bill text message on her phone. 198,021.25 yuan. Ning Yi. Gu Cheng used her card to swipe nearly 200,000 yuan. Ning Yi rose up. What did you buy? Cashmere sweater for mom, and tea for grandpa, Gu Cheng said with a nasty and playful smile. Didn't I say that you should be filial? No. The problem is that if you are so rich, why don't you use your own money to be a filial piety, you picky? Ning Yi fainted. Kill him today. After a while, Song Lan called her to the main house. Grandpa likes that tea very much. Xiao Ai, you just said that you don't have any suitable jewelry. Mom came back and picked out a set of jewelry that matches your dress. Let's see if I like it. Ning Yi was stunned. Who said? What did Gu Cheng say? Opening the box, she was directly blinded by the precious and rare intense green Katsi gemstone, and fell in love immediately. Thank you, Mom. Gu Cheng's cool voice came from next to his ear. What about me? Shit, husband. Ding's welcome banquet was held in a 5-star hotel in the city center. There are already a bunch of reporters staying on site in advance. But the reporters, who were supposed to be talking about the banquet, were whispering about something else. Have you heard that Professor Qian from the Brain Department of High City and Director Wang from the Department of Motor Neurology have all landed in City A today? As soon as I landed, I was picked up by a unified black luxury car. My paparazzi friend checked the flight, and 3 experts are coming tomorrow. I can only think of one person who can make such a big commotion in City A. Hiss, that's big news. That one is not something we can mention. Today we are mainly shooting the daughter of the Ding family. Ding Zio was supposed to do her makeup beautifully today and keep in the best condition to welcome her grand ceremony. However, from yesterday to now, she no longer knows how many people she has dealt with. I really didn't, I just went to see young Master Gu. Brother Xiu, trust me. No, young Master Gu is still awake, don't bother him. Because the word Gukin not only represents the yearning of those wealthy daughters, but also is synonymous with absolute interests. It is no exaggeration to say that as long as Gu Cheng can come back, the stock price of the Gu Group will skyrocket the next day. This is the weight of Gu Cheng, who is not greedy. Absolute weight, absolute correctness, absolute kingship. And Ding Zio could have quietly become the light in this man's heart, but now Ning Yi stepped in. Ding Zio's teeth itch with hatred. Rather. Yi. Today, she must crush Ning Yi hard like in her dream. Let her feel ashamed. Gu family. Ning Yi changed into a dress and long skirt, and put on that set of dazzling jewelry. I admired it in the mirror for a long time. Beauty. Beautiful. Ning Yi is so beautiful that she can't remember how thin and pale her face was in the last days. Now she is a person who has eaten well and slept well, her complexion is rosy and radiant, and her skin can be broken by blows. Tried on this dress without makeup yesterday and it looked good enough. Today, with makeup on and her long chestnut hair slightly curled up, she was so beautiful that Ning Yi fell in love with her in place. Ning Yi invited people to share the reward. Husband, I'll show you something nice. Gu Cheng was quietly thinking about something. Now he has become more and more reconciled with the dark and silent world, because he knows that the day of breaking the situation is not far away. And he seemed to have gotten used to it more and more. Someone kept nagging in his ear. Gu Cheng asked lightly, what? Oh, you'll know it when you see it. Facing the mirror, Ning Yi happily switched her body. When Gu Cheng opened his eyes, he saw a face. Very nice face. His eyes followed her delicate eyebrows, traced down to the beautiful tip of the nose, the corners of the red lips, and then down to the slender and white swan neck and the lonely collarbone. His eyes paused for a few seconds and then moved up politely. Then Gu Cheng asked firmly, what are you looking at? Ning Yi? Look in the mirror. Gu Cheng's eyes kept looking at the person in the mirror, but his voice was so flat that there was no wave. What's wrong? Ning Yi, Didn't you see me? Ning Yi? You have nothing to say. Gu Cheng, no. Ning Yi? Are you blind? Ning Yi didn't talk to the dead husband until she got into the Bentley with Gu Li and got off at the gate of the banquet hotel. At such a young age, not only is the body broken, but the eyesight is also not getting better. Today, Gu Li was wearing a suit, the young man was tall and straight, and came here specially to accompany his sister-in-law to join in the fun. After arriving at the place, get out of the car and come around, and open the door for Ning Yi. The moment Ning Yi got out of the car, the pea-green skirt brushed over the toes of her high heels, and when she raised her face slightly, she clearly heard the sound of breathing around her. Very well, this is the reaction of a normal person. Unlike some vegetative people. At this time, the hotel was crowded with people. Ding Zio was wearing a dreamy pink gorgeous princess dress, holding Father Ding's arm affectionately, welcoming the guests with a smile, her heart brimming with excitement. Today is an important moment in her beautiful life. It not only let everyone know that she is the real daughter protected by the Ding family, but also made her the most dazzling one among all the rich daughters, whether it is Gu Dashao who is about to wake up, or those excellent men in the future will always be the first to see her. Ding Ziyu's plan for today is this. First of all, after Ning Yi came, the reporters would rush to take pictures of them together. According to the plot in the dream, today Ning Yi will wear a white gauze dress with a very cheap shape and cut. When the two of them are under the same camera, it is a public execution of Ning Yi. And the unique life experience of the real and fake daughters makes them naturally compared together, which can attract people's attention and discussion the most. This is also a key for Ding Ziyu to become a famous celebrity from now on. Then, for the lighting of the entire venue, brother specially invited the third son of the Zhao family to control the venue for her. Zhao Weining is a computer expert, so it is easy to do lighting programming, and it will definitely give her the most gorgeous and dreamy effects. Next, Ding Ziyu will have her own performance show, showing her elegant posture. Not only that, but she will also considerately arrange opportunities for Ning Yi. Thinking of everything tonight, Ding Ziyu's eyes sparkled. Why hasn't Ning Yi come yet? Ding Ziyu smiled and adjusted her gorgeous skirt. Suddenly, all the cameras and spotlights in front of her turned their heads. I wipe, who then? Beside her is the young master of the Gu family, the younger brother of young master Gu, then this is. Didn't you say that the real and fake daughter was brought back from the countryside? Why is she so beautiful? Ning Yi has lazy eyebrows, not only beautiful, but also has a calm demeanor that is not afraid of any occasion. Young Master Gu Le protected Ning Yi all the way in the crowd, feeling very proud in his heart. His brother is the most cherished, and his sister-in-law is also the best. Okay, don't take pictures, the camera is far away from me. The smile on Ding Ziyu's face froze. How is this different from the one in the dream? The dress on Ning Yi, Ding Ziyu recognized at a glance as the new style of 22SS, the only high-end brand in Huiguo. The pea-green wrap dress was softly tied at the shoulders and neck. The tailoring was very high-end, and the skirt was sparkling. Wearing it on people is like the spring breeze blowing willows. And the set of opal necklace that Ning Yi is wearing, if it is real, the asking price will be more than 3 million. Ding Ziyu had never had such expensive jewelry in Ning's house before, and she only received such expensive jewelry as a birthday present when she returned to Ding's house. Where did Ning Yi borrow it? Steal it? When Ning Yi was escorted up the steps, she stood on the same plane as Ding Ziyu at the hotel entrance. As expected, all the reporters' cameras came to point at the two of them to take pictures in the same frame, but Ding Ziyu suddenly realized that she was actually a bit shorter than Ning Yi when she was wearing higher heels. Crack! Crack! Yes, look here, the beauty in the green dress. It's fine, don't move, just smile, never mind. Ning Yi took a few photos cooperatively. After all, it is understandable to ask her to open for a meal. Looking at the heroine's green face, Ning Yi's appetite got better. And Gu Li looked at the eyes of the people around him on Ning Yi, and felt deeply that it was dangerous. "Brother! You wake up!" Ning Yi and Gu Li sat down in the banquet hall. Not long after, the Ding family's banquet program was served along with the dishes. The main dish was steamed drunken crab with aged huadiao. Ning Yi liked it very much. While quickly removing the shell with a knife and fork, he watched the performance on stage with great interest. "Yu, it is the treasure we lost and recovered." Ding's parents and elder brother revealed their true feelings. After Ding Ziyu's mistake was lost, they were overwhelmed with pain. The whole family held hands on the stage and looked at each other with tears in their eyes. The posture seemed to make Ding Ziyu feel that she had been raised by a rich family as her own daughter all these years. "You suffered a lot of grievances. No wonder the original owner in the original plot was so jealous and distorted. It was also a mistake. She was carried to the countryside and suffered for more than 20 years. Ding Ziyu, who was already relatively lucky, now has more and better things." People in the wealthy circle even cried out to save face. In the end, Ding Ziyu's eldest brother also rushed back from abroad and gave his sister a surprise, and then the whole family gave Ding Ziyu a gift, including luxury goods, antique collections, etc., which caused an uproar on the scene. Envious, the expression on Ding Ziyu's face finally regained a sense of superiority. Even if Ning Yi can get some material to show off, but she can't get love. Gu Letsk beside him, "Sister-in-law, what do you think?" Ning Yi seriously commented, "It's delicious." "Of course, Chef Gu's is better." Ning Yi sipped the shark fin soup seriously. "Gu Li." The boy looked at Ning Yi for a while, and found that she was really serious about eating, and threw him a peeled crab leg in the middle. So Gu Li also inexplicably started to eat seriously. This picture of the wealthy siblings having dinner immediately went viral on the internet, but the person involved didn't know about it. After the meal, the lights dimmed, and Ding Ziyu went backstage to prepare for the performance. The atmosphere at the scene also relaxed, turning into a social vanity fair for the wealthy circle. Gu Li was worried that such a beautiful woman as Ning Yi would be alone, so he took her to play with her friends. The third son of the Zhao family was typing on the keyboard on the second floor of the banquet hall. He is now on the top of his career, so he doesn't bother to care about the lighting effects that Ding's daughter wants. Just write a few programs for her casually, and play a dozen with VJ at that time. Zhao Weining's computer is still building a platform. When Ning Yi followed Gu Li, she happened to see his computer screen, and the things she built were very familiar to her. Ning Yi, surprised face, so she suddenly figured it out. It turned out that the reason why Gu Cheng paid attention to him, a small internet company, was not only because of their development potential, but also because this little brother had the endorsement of the Zhao family. With a rich family background, it is impossible for him to play himself to death, and he can also share the risk. It is worthy of having the strongest business acumen in the book. Zhao Weining was so engrossed in it that he didn't bother to talk to Gu Li. "Oh, don't bother me, I'm going to send this part to my elder brother after I finish building it today." Big brother Ning Yi, Ovo Gu Li was speechless. "You're so boring, sister-in-law, wait here, I'll get you a drink." Ning Yi, okay. She watched the little brother typing code from behind for a while, and the speed was not bad. After a while, Ning Yi's slender fingertips poked the screen a millimeter apart, and accurately reported an error. Zhao Weining was surprised and found that the other party was right. Turning around, he was caught off guard and was a beauty crit. You. Ning Yi smiled, "Our platform depends on you." Zhao Weining. "Fuck the bosses you." At this time, the foreign band downstairs began to play. Ding Ziyu changed into performance clothes and stood in the center of the banquet hall. With so many reporters present today, she learned to dance just for this day, and with the beautiful light effects, she will definitely be able to get out of the circle and become the most famous socialite daughter. After she finishes her performance, she will cue Ning Yi to perform again. Whether Ning Yi has low self-esteem and refuses, or she really comes out and acts forcefully, she will be severely compared to her. Ding Ziyu raised her face, facing the light above her head confidently, and Ning Yi's fingertips landed on Zhao Weining's console equipment. May I try? Zhao Weining, no problem. Ning Yi looked at the compiled program, and started to optimize it so that it flew up. When the performance officially started, she used her superb technique and perfect sense of rhythm to ensure that every beat and the lights on Ding Ziyu's face were all red and green. Zhao Weining blushed, straight man LJ applauded aesthetically, it's really beautiful. And Ding Ziyu's face turned green? What happened? When Gu Li came back, he saw Zhao Weining blushing shyly next to Ning Yi. Alarm bells were ringing in his heart, and he immediately grabbed his collar. What are you thinking? This is my brother's wife. Zhao Weining, I didn't, ahem. How dare I? It's just that my sister is beautiful and skilled, so cool, isn't she? Woo woo woo. Ding Ziyu fainted. She looked at the picture video sent back by the reporter at the scene. When her expression was sweet, her face had a green light, and when she cut to the soft pink light, she closed her eyes, and the ending pose she designed was not illuminated. Not a single photo to look at. How to get out of the circle? Ding Ziyu's mentality is about to collapse. Why is today different from what was predicted in the dream? Turning around again, seeing Ning Yi talking and laughing happily with the third son of the Zhao family, he concluded that it was Ning Yi who did it. Ding Ziyu walked towards her with a sullen face. Ning Yi looked at the rich and young masters in the entire banquet hall, and she could hear their discussions with her ears. I just heard that 2 heavyweight doctors have come to City A. Young Master Gu really? No, I also want to find a chance to visit him. Ning Yi is happy. This is the light of Gu Cheng. It's really glorious, happy face. She was full and tired from playing, so she decided to ask her blind husband to come and take a look. 3. What's your husband doing? Gu Cheng is trying to control his body. The change is extremely slight, but it's not completely impossible. The starting point for bringing about these changes is to switch bodies with Ning Yi. Waiting for you. Gu Cheng's voice was cold and magnetic. But Ning Yi is completely immune. That's so embarrassing, Ning Yi actually said with great embarrassment. The banquet is almost over, come and drink some water. Gu Cheng paused. I is so kind to me. Ning Yi, who made me love you husband. 3. So Gu Cheng was replaced. As soon as he stood still, he heard a voice. You are very proud, sister. Ding Ziyu squinted at her, not pretending to be sisterly. Yes, what can Ning Yi be proud of? She didn't even know that she was not far from a miserable ending. She would always be a sure loser with her. Gu Cheng's brows and eyes were indifferent, and he didn't bother to talk to him at all. And Ding Ziyu's eyes slowly climbed up, and he showed her a corner of his whole card with an extremely superior attitude. Do you know why young Master Gu's health has improved? Gu Cheng raised his eyebrows. He hasn't figured it out yet. Does the other party have any ideas? Ding Ziyu looked at him, thinking that you are pretending to be calm, but you are actually starting to panic, right? But the fact of your abuse can't be changed, just like the warmth I brought to young Master Gu can't be erased by anyone. Ding Ziyu smiled proudly, it's because of me. Gu Cheng. Very good. 5 seconds of my life wasted. Gu Cheng turned around and left. Do you really hate me? Ding Ziyu's voice came from behind. Hate me for taking everything from you, but you can't help it, the world just listens to me. Ding Ziyu picked up the microphone and uttered a sweet voice to the banquet hall filled with toasts. Thank you for liking my dance. Today, my sister Ning Yi is also very happy for me and wants to perform for everyone. Please give me some applause and encouragement. The Ding family and other guests from the wealthy circle applauded. Gu Cheng's face was expressionless, as if he was looking at a group of dead people. Ning Yi didn't hear Gu Cheng's voice for a long time, and asked, what is husband thinking? Gu Cheng's voice was gloomy and cold. It's getting cold, it's time to bankrupt the Ding family. There was a dark light in Gu Cheng's eyes. These people are as insignificant as ants in his eyes. But now, after all, it is in Ning Yi's body. The spotlight chased after him, and the figure under the light was thin, very beautiful and detached. People in the wealthy circle covered their mouths mockingly. Isn't it possible? If you can't dance, you can do other things. It's not like you don't have any talents, right? Gu Cheng, oh. Can he still embarrass his wife? Stormy tonight, but it has nothing to do with Ning Yi. She ate and drank well, and slept well. After waking up the next day, I went back to my body and looked at my phone, only to realize why the name Ning Yi became popular. As soon as I went online, there was an entry about her. One was that sister in green skirt is so beautiful. One is that my sister is so talented and I love it. The first one is a live picture of Ning Yi being taken at the entrance of the hotel, and the second one is a video in the banquet hall. Ning Yi clicked on the one at the back and took a look, only to realize that after she lay down to sleep last night, Ding Ziyu actually cued Gu Cheng in public and came out to perform and dance. Ning Yi, don't laugh me to death. In the video, Ning Yi stood under the spotlight, looking at the entire banquet hall indifferently, feeling inexplicably cold and oppressive with contempt for everything. Facing the crowd waiting to see the joke, she picked up the microphone calmly, and began to control the scene in English, French, and German in a messy banquet hall, calmly and neatly commanding Ding those foreign bands invited by the family. In the end, she invited them to play a simple nursery rhyme, finished the performance directly in the atmosphere, and exited gracefully. At this time, the video barrage has exploded. Fuck, why does this sister have such a complicated sense of beauty and handsomeness? Ah! With this talent, who wants to watch dancing and singing? Ning Yi found Ding Ziyu's completely petrified figure and stiff face from the corners of the video, and almost died laughing. Light! How dim you are, Light! After turning off the video, Ning Yi called the boss. Wow, husband, you are awesome. Your performance yesterday made me very proud. Gu Cheng smiled lightly. Really? Ning Yi has never experienced this kind of experience of being taken away by a big boss. After recollecting it, she feels quite refreshed. But if she was on the scene in this situation, she would be able to make a living. Husband, Ning Yi said enthusiastically, I can also speak 3 foreign languages. Oh! Gu Cheng slightly raised his eyebrows. Since the body swap, he has also learned about Ning Yi's life experience and situation through other people's reports and reactions. Given her growing environment, learning a foreign language may not be easy. Gu Cheng asked, which 3 kinds does Yi know? Ning Yi replied enthusiastically, meow meow meow. Squeak. And his Ho Gu Cheng was speechless for a moment. The first 2 are understandable, what is the third? Ning Yi was very serious, it's zombie language. Gu Cheng. It's okay. After the hostess welcome banquet, the circle of rich and famous ladies really entered the public's field of vision, and netizens looked for melons everywhere. This is also a business opportunity in Ning Yi circle. It can be said that it is tailor-made according to the situation of this brainless pet culture world. The last time Zhao Weining added her WeChat, and then pulled her into the programmer zoo, which is full of good brothers who made this internet product together. Hello boss. Hi sister. Welcome baboons beat their breasts. JPG Ning Yi waved kindly, hello. Because of Ning Yi's rolling technical guidance, their platform was built quickly, and they have been doing product testing recently. The front end must ensure the user experience of each terminal, ensure the stability and fluency of user concurrency, establish a relatively complete user feedback processing mechanism, implant tracking codes, and so on. The name of the platform was given by Ning Yi, See More, meaning see more. The target group is aimed at the life display of the wealthy young master, so that ordinary netizens can also pay attention to interaction, class mobility, and provide a stage for the famous ladies and young masters who want to become famous and want to get more attention. There is a lot of room for commercial profit in this, and he has to be interested in Gu Cheng. Ning Yi personally created the platform. The page is so clean and beautiful that nothing can be said about it. Their internal testing is extremely smooth, and the programmers are screaming. There are no open screen advertisements, and there are no acne squeezing, anti-hair loss, or cosmetic contact lenses on the page. The user experience is excellent, and it is very in line with the orientation of young people today. In order to have a good download volume after the product is launched and attract more users to settle in, promotion is also essential. For this, Ning Yi is very wicked. The heroine of the pampering article rubs her light casually, a living target for drainage. Just spend some money to collect the pictures and videos from the reporters invited by the Ding family. Number true and false daughter with frame number video number 3 foreign language control field video number all high definition, bang bang drainage. After the launch of See More, users began to grow. The initial developer of the platform is very mysterious, codenamed 01, which means the first person to register. Ning Yi is like a young lady who eats, drinks, and relaxes in the Gu family, secretly making her career flourish. Gu Cheng saw her computer. What are you playing? Ning Yi, play with some people. She quickly saw applications from a new batch of users. Register Pink V, Ding Ziu, daughter of the Ding group Ning Yi, ah ha 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 welcome. At the same time, the Ku family also began to have turmoil. Because young Master Gu really made a move. After 3 years, another national expert consultation was held in Gukin's ward. Famous doctors from all over the country conducted a series of examinations, followed by heated discussions. When young Master Gu had an accident, the Gu family spent a lot of money to invite them all. However, at that time they tried medication, high-pressure liquid oxygen therapy, acupuncture, and even electrotherapy, and finally found that they could not be awakened. The body has a harmful effect. His body seemed to be stopped there by some force, and his functions were basically intact, but he was not suitable for various stimulating treatments. At that time, some people boldly speculated that this power might not last forever, and when it dissipated, it might be the time for young Master Gu to wake up. Now, although young Master Gu still hasn't woken up, he has already reacted. Is another miracle going to happen to this man? Originally, the Gu family was still suppressing the news, but news of the consultation with famous doctors across the country still alarmed the wealthy circle. All of a sudden, people from the whole circle who want to visit young Master Gu, those who secretly spy on the stock price of the Gu group, and those who are the first to cooperate with the Gu family after Gukin wakes up can line up from the other buildings in Gukin to the gate of the manor. However, Ning Yi is still the only one who can come and go freely to visit Gukin. Many famous ladies and daughters who rushed over from the manor saw Ning Yi's leisurely figure and secretly gritted their teeth. She's pretty laid back. Don't even think about your own value. If young Master Gu really wakes up, he will be the first to kick her off, okay? With Ning Yi's background and conditions, what qualifications does she have to be the wife of the helm of the Gu family? Turning around, they went to See More to post slanderous complaints and distributed a selfie of themselves. This software is really easy to use and has become popular recently. Husband, what did the doctor say? Ning Yi was lying down, and now she was standing beside the bed listening to the doctor talking about Gu Cheng. She was very considerate and left the opportunity to understand the condition to the big brother. After all, what if one day Gu Cheng fell to the ground and walked upright, but was still affected by the power of the plot and wanted to abuse her? Let's get some emotional foundation. Honey, I'm so nervous, I'm really looking forward to the day you recover. Ning Yi said affectionately. Gu Cheng glanced at the many medical instruments in the room, then lowered his eyes, and said calmly, are you looking forward to seeing me? Of course my husband. Ning Yi said, I really can't wait. She and Mr. Gu really haven't met each other in the true sense. Of course, although there is a bit of power to be afraid of the plot, but Ning Yi is not particularly afraid because if Gu Cheng turned against her and abused her, then Ning Yi would cut her number. Use the body of the most domineering president in the world to pretend to be aggressive. Think about the excitement of riding a horse. Doctors are still in heated discussions. Right now, they still have to wait for Gu Dashao's body to respond more, so that they can have more medical data and make a more accurate judgment. Gu Cheng was leaning on the side thinking about something, when Ning Yi's cell phone rang in his pocket. She set a password on her mobile phone, and Gu Cheng didn't bother to read other people's privacy. But when the screen turned on today, he happened to catch a glimpse of the WeChat message on Ning Yi's phone, which came from the group chat. A large number of handsome men at the beginning of the monkey Gu Cheng. The news is still playing. When will my sister guide me? My sister came to bug Fi Fei. Gu Cheng took a breath of cold air from his lips. Ah! Ning Yi didn't know about it, and put her eyes closed to reveal her heart. Husband, no matter what, I will accompany you and help you until the day you wake up. Okay. The man locked the phone screen, and spoke slowly with a low, magnetic voice with a bit of malice. I also know that Yi is eager. I've already told my mother for you just now in order to wake me up as soon as possible. You will recite sutras for me 4 times a day in the morning and evening. Family therapy. Ning Yi. When I wake up, Yi will personally push the wheelchair for me, take care of my daily life and diet, and share the pressure of life for me. Ning Yi. Gu Cheng's voice was cold and harsh. After all, Yi is my light, isn't she? Ning Yi almost couldn't lie down. Are you dead or not, Gu Cheng? He even pushes a wheelchair on a horse, and pushes you into the lake, believe it or not. A fire in her chest pushed her strongly. Look, young Master Gu has moved. Dr. Qian was the first to notice young Master Gu's movement on the bed. God! It really moved. 3 years, this is the first time. For a moment, the doctors in the entire ward looked at that man excitedly and expectantly. What a signal to send us! I saw the well-articulated hands beside the bed trembling slightly, and then slowly lifted them up. Slowly, raised a middle finger. There was silence in the ward again. Dr. Qian, who was next to him, hesitated for a while, and finally asked cautiously, Young Master Gu, what does this mean? Gu Cheng, Ning Yi, the world of grass _ Small actions have triggered in-depth research by medical scholars. Young Master Gu must have a deep meaning in making this gesture. After all, that was young Master Gu. Maybe it's a sign that he's about to wake up after 3 years of sleep? Or maybe he already has a clear consciousness and is declaring his attitude to the world in an unruly way. Either way, it's a big deal. That night, these experts and scholars even began to write papers on the expression of consciousness after the recovery of vegetative people. Ning Yi, he _ a middle finger, prying the whole world. Mr. Gu and Song Lan did not disclose the news of Gu Cheng to the public, but the rumors that Gu Cheng has moved could be heard inside the Gu family. A firm Gukin will definitely wake up party like Gu Le almost burst into tears of joy, while floating members of the group like Gu Zizong are quite afraid. He originally thought that Gu Cheng had been lying in bed for 3 years, and it was impossible to wake up again. As long as he killed Mr. Gu, he would be able to take over. Who knew that Gu Cheng would wake up again? Gu Zizong can only push forward the cooperation project with Ding's family more eagerly, hoping to have more right to speak before Gu Cheng wakes up. Seeing the way the Ding family held Ding Xiu up to the sky to pick up the stars and send the moon to the moon, he could only continue to curry favor with Ding Xiu. Ding Xiu received a tip-off from Gu Zizong, and when she learned that Gu Cheng had moved, she felt warm and moved in her heart. Young Master Gu must be working very hard for me. And Ning Yi, that vicious woman, must have been trembling for her crime of abuse. It's okay, young Master Gu. On the day you wake up, you will be able to see my brightest light. Ding Zihu flipped through the new followers of her Seymour account and said to Gu Zizong, "Thank you Uncle Gu, I will definitely tell my brother for you if Uncle wants to thank me, just buy a hot post for my social account, right?" These days, if there is any new trend or outlet, they must seize the opportunity. Now that their social circles are all using this social software, who doesn't want to be sought after by thousands of people? Originally, the famous ladies and daughters were all comparing what kind of car was given by their family, where was the flat floor, and what rare skin was bought, but now there is a new indicator in the competition between the number of fans. Ding Ziyu naturally wants to become the best among them. Naturally, Gu Zizong couldn't say no to her request. If spending more than 100,000 yuan can lead to cooperation with Ding's family, it would be a good deal. The question is, what is this software? He was speechless while throwing money. Who knows whose pocket the money will end up in? Ning Yi happily lay down at home to make money. The internet will always be the outlet, and it is easy to make money by being able to make a bigger platform. Her partners are also very happy. Although the business has just started, the number of registered users is increasing rapidly. The prospects are very good, and they will definitely be able to attract big shots to invest in them in the future. Ning Yi is more confident about this. After all, Gu Cheng has endorsed it. He. The programmers were happy and decided to come out to team building. They pushed and shoved and finally sent Zhao Weining to invite Ning Yi. Zhao Weining shyly sent a message, "Sister Yi, brothers would like to treat you to dinner." Then a store address was sent. Ning Yi saw that it was a member-only private clubhouse, and the menus were all seasonal and fresh. It would be inhuman not to eat. Immediately, her kindness could not be turned down. Mei Zizi made an appointment with Zhao Weining. Just after returning to them, I received another message from Ding Ziyu on my phone. "Sister, do you have nothing to do recently? Do you want to play on Seymour the opal necklace you wore at my welcome banquet last time? You can also show it off." Ding Ziyu is very happy. Recently the last welcome banquet failed to make her out of the circle and become the most sought-after celebrity, and now there is such a social platform tailored for her. Sure enough, in her pampered life, even God dotes on her. Ning Yi, no more it's embarrassing on my own platform. Ding Ziyu thought, Ning Yi must not have access to such new information. Don't dare to come up to the show, maybe the necklace is borrowed. It seems that she also knows that she has nothing to show off, and when young Master Gu wakes up, she will definitely be kicked out by the Gu family, and she will not be able to get into this circle anymore. Oh, Xiaoi, you should also show yourself more. We have activities at the racecourse club on weekends, you must come. Ning Yi thought to himself, the racecourse is not bad, the playground for ladies and gentlemen, it must be shown off on social platforms, mo duo. So Ning Yi expressed encouragement. Wow! Ding Ziyu turned off her phone, a smugness flashed in her eyes. Are you envious? The last 3 languages can be said to be Ning Yi's surprise training and preparation in advance, so equestrianism is not something that can be learned by surprise. Not to mention that Ning Yi doesn't have the qualifications to study, she will definitely be ashamed when she comes. And there is another very important reason for this event at the racecourse. Ding Ziyu has already planted warm seedlings in young Master Gu's heart waiting to germinate, and in this racecourse event, she will meet the popular actor and become his palm girl in the future. Thinking of that domineering and handsome man, Ding Ziyu's heart surged. Ning Yi was also excitedly preparing to go out for dinner. Think about it, since I wore it, I haven't eaten outside yet. Although the chef of the Gu family is already very good, there are not too many delicious dishes. Recently, Gu Cheng has been cooperating with doctors to conduct various physical examinations and exercise the ability to control his limbs. But today, he discovered that Ning Yi hadn't swapped bodies with him to lie down for a long time after the usual meal time. Kind of weird. Haven't you eaten? He asked lightly. Ning Yi rushed out excitedly and paused. She was embarrassed to say that she was going to have dinner with a group of older brothers, so she answered briefly, "Husband, they are going to eat now." Oh. Gu Cheng's voice was still indifferent. Did Yi forget that she still has to chant scriptures for me today? Ning Yi smiled affectionately, haha. Claws. Song Lan learned that she was going out, and said that Xiao I had been working hard to take care of Aiken recently, so she should go out to have fun, and thoughtfully asked the driver of the Gu family to take her to the gate of the clubhouse. Ning Yi was very moved. Mother-in-law is much better than husband. Young Master Zhao San booked a box in advance, and when Ning Yi arrived, he was greeted by the waiter at the door. As soon as the door of the box was opened, the sound of apes on both sides of the street could not be heard inside. Ah, big sister is here. Boss, accept my worship. Why is sister more beautiful than the photo? Ning Yi waved kindly, look, what a man who is not blind can talk. A group of programmers present here are still working together to start a business recently. There are many topics, and the whole box is very lively. Besides Ning Yi, there was another girl who had been staring at her since Ning Yi sat down. When Ning Yi turned her head to look at her, she half covered her mouth and whispered to her, with your face, you basically beat 99.9% of the internet celebrities on the market. Really, no one I've seen offline can beat you. Ning Yi, hey? After her self-introduction, this person is Zhao Weining's second sister, Zhao Machu, an internet expert, who has already sensed the trend and moved to see more, becoming the #1 owner of CM. Ning Yi immediately shook hands in a friendly manner, I'm sorry, it turns out they are allies. Zhao Machu was originally a melon gossip expert, and she has been obsessed with all kinds of private affairs of wealthy families since she was a child. CM is aimed at the circle of rich and famous ladies. As soon as the product is launched, she knows that her spring is coming. She puts out all kinds of real melons and fake melons a day, and in just a few days, she has gained 100,000 followers, which is much faster than Ding Zihu's spending money to increase her followers. Ning Yi didn't expect that there would be such an interesting young lady in this pet article, who listened to melons with great interest while eating vegetables. Then, from the perspective of analyzing user tendencies, I humbly ask, who do users generally like to watch the most? Young Master Gu. You don't need to ask. Zhao Machu said. Ning Yi understood, yes, yes. Zhao Machu said, young Master Gu has a relationship with everyone in the circle. He was already out of the circle before his accident. When he was rated as the top 100 men in Asia, the whole people carnivalied. No one thought that there would be such a thing in real life. A 10 billion president who is not greasy, not bald, but also so tall and handsome. Ning Yi, hey. All right, young man. Zhao Machu said with experience, eldest young Master Gu hasn't appeared in 3 years, and people still mention him frequently. Now, as long as young Master Gu is mentioned insinuatingly and his name is mentioned, there will be traffic. Ning Yi blinked her eyes, okay. Live traffic is actually by my side. She couldn't help calling Gu Cheng in her mind, husband, I love you so much. Gu Cheng was still training his body with his mind, and when he heard this, he calculated the time in his mind, have you finished your meal? Ning Yi, I haven't pinched it yet. Oh. Gu Cheng's voice turned cold, let me go. I'm hungry. Ning Yi looked up, and saw the young handsome guys in the box full of people, and when they saw her look up, they all looked over shyly. Ning Yi, Ababa. Gu Cheng, hey. Ning Yi actually felt a little guilty, but then he thought it was just a meal and he didn't care. So he began to pretend to be deaf and dumb, showing off his food fiercely. Gu Cheng, hat. In the end, everyone ate this meal as brothers and looked forward to the grand future together. Before leaving, Ning Yi thought of asking Zhao Machu, oh, by the way, are you going to the racecourse this weekend? Zhao Machu naturally also received the invitation, go, that one from the Ding family. Oh, it's your fake sister, maybe you've made a fuss. On this occasion, there are the most melons. Ning Yi thought, it makes sense. And she suddenly remembered, it seems that in the original plot, the heroine and the heroine knew each other like this. Actor, Big Flo. Money Tree has on the way home. Ning Yi rubbed her belly and started to feel sleepy. She yawned and said very considerately, "Husband, come and have a rest, let me exercise your limbs for you." Ning Yi switched bodies with him, and then lay down there peacefully. "When you are full, you should lie down." Life. And Gu Cheng touched his mellow belly, looked at the scene of the car going backwards outside the car window, and said in a cold and firm tone, "You ate it secretly." Ning Yi woke up for a second, and subconsciously changed her body back. What steal? What to steal? Although it is literal, it sounds weird. Can you speak? Ning Yi went back to the manor with her stomach supported, and walked into the other building. As soon as he arrived at the door of Gukin's ward, he bumped into Song Lan. Because of Gu Cheng's recent situation, Song Lan didn't sleep well for a while, and didn't care about Ning Yi. At this moment, she remembered what Ning Yi had said to her to take care of Gu Cheng, and she was moved. "Xiao Yi, are you going to chant sutras for Ah Cheng?" Ning Yi, that, Song Lan looked at her with eyes full of tears. Although it may not work, but this is the child's heart, how could she pour cold water on it? Besides, maybe this child Ning Yi is a lucky star? Ning Yi looked at Song Lan's haggard and red eyes, and her slightly disheveled hair. After a long silence, he nodded with humiliation, "Yes." After a while, Song Lan leaned affectionately at the door, watching Ning Yi sitting on Gu Cheng's bedside, holding a book. What a sweet picture! In Ning Yi's ears, Gu Cheng's deep and magnetic voice became a bit playful. I really want to chant scriptures for me." Ning Yi chuckled twice in her heart. Gu Cheng smiled viciously, "If Yi treats family affection 4 times a day, it will definitely be effective if you persevere." Ning Yi, he, then I can't read it directly for you. Ning Yi took a deep breath and said affectionately, "Husband, since it's family therapy, in order to have a better effect on your body, I decided to start with something I'm familiar with. It's more emotional." Gu Cheng, "Oh." Ning Yi said sincerely, "That's why I want to recite the sutra on food and drink for you." Commonly known as the name of the dish, Kissy Face, Gu Cheng. Ning Yi began to chant to him. Steamed lamb, steamed deer tail, roasted duck. Gu Cheng gradually fell silent. Ning Yi is full of emotions, and her love is as deep as the sea: black truffle, huidiao crab, squirrel mandarin fish, big idiot, lotus paste custard bun. Gu Cheng, I heard it.